thing started. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And it is a feedback Saturday. This is where we respond to the things that you had to say for the episodes we did throughout the week. Mm-hmm. The only podcast sitting out here, however long it takes, we get it done. That's what we do over here. Y'all had us here for 4 hours 2 weeks ago.
Yes, y'all did. We love y'all.
Had to take a week off after that. It was crazy.
Y'all was out. We still love you, though.
Of course, the official weapon of the show is...
the taser.
No, it's not. Oh, of course, the official weapon of the show is...
the folding chair.
The unofficial sport.
Bullet ball.
At Bullet Ball Extreme. A couple housekeeping notes. Let me just say it right now. Number one, the Black Friday sale for this year is already started. Just like everybody else that started their shit early. We went ahead and started ours early too. Fuck it. Okay, African American Friday is not on CP time. It's on early people time. So if you want to sign up for a year of premium for $100, that's $8.33 a month. This is your time to shine. If you want to like cancel your old one and sign up for this one instead, if you want to like extend it or whatever, if you signed up last year or the year before, it automatically renews. It comes right out of your PayPal. Mm-hmm. So you don't need to re-sign up. If you have questions, you can always email me, theblackouttips@gmail.com. I can check the status, but you can go to PayPal and look, and it'll tell you if you're supposed to get an automatic renewal. Sign up for this, man. Like this, let me just tell you, it's a big deal for us. Yes. And I'll probably put a separate thing on the feed just for this, but it's a big deal for us, man. Like this is one of the times of the year where we get, we know we can work with this income because we know like, bam, this is the money we're getting for this year from these people at this time. It's lasting until December the 5th because we go all the way through Cyber Monday.
Yes.
But yeah, if you're thinking about signing up, if you want to gift something to somebody as a, let me know. But there's it helps us out, and it's like steady income that we know is coming to us. And keep in mind, this is money that we're not worried about like, oh, Spotify changed all their rules, we can't get advertising anymore. No, this is money straight from y'all to us. It's how we can say we can keep our integrity, say no to things we don't feel like doing,
right?
Why we can be kind of picky about the deals and the things that we do. It's all because of the people that do this, that sign up for our premium behind the paywall. And like I said, if you've been thinking about it, if you want to switch over from just the tip, which is $5 a month, you'd be paying basically $3 extra a month, and you would get all the shows behind the paywall all the time as soon as they come out. So just wanted to say that real quick. The second thing I wanted to say for show notes, holiday card time. Okay. Email us, theblackouttips@gmail.com, your mailing address, and we will hook you up with a card, and I think this year I've only ordered 100. So I think that should be enough for some. I don't know. Sometimes it varies per year. Yeah, it varies for about a year. But we'll see. But just letting you know, it's kind of first come, first served on that. When we're out, I don't know if I'll restock or not. Just depends.
Right.
But just letting you know, holiday cards are there. And if you want to send us a holiday card or a gift or something, you have a couple options. One, Amazon wish list. It's in the show notes for every episode. We have stuff on there. People get us stuff. A couple people already got us stuff. We didn't even bring it up on the show. I'm definitely going to shout y'all out today. And of course, the mailing address, theblackouttips.com/about, theblackguywhotips.com/about. That has our physical mailing address for our, box or whatever. And if you want to like send us a Christmas card or something yourself, boom, we got you. Thank you. All right. That's the show notes. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about. Your feedback. People left us feedback. People said all kinds of stuff, but the people we always try to shout out first and foremost. Okay. No offense to everybody else, but it's the people that give us money. They can go to theblackouttips.com, look on the right-hand side, and you can donate one time, recurring. We don't care. You get the same shout out no matter what. And that's what we're about to do.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own, Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tie to the Black Friday Tips.
That's right. It's a new day, new shout outs, new handouts. Let's go. Chris from Hawaii, thank you very much. Corey the Tickler, thank you. April G, Tabitha M, Alexis H, Tanya S, Marlon B, yes, Marlon B, Wonga from Down Under, Dustre J, Shirley Wong Esquire, always say that Esquire, Tiffany B, Alfonso M, and Mr. Span, you guys know him, Span Report Podcast, or the Mr. Span Podcast, I think it's now. Lindsay B, Palmetto Stone Magic. We also got Jay Full, James C, David C, Jasmine J, Autumn W, Unbridled Love, Bambi, Dr. Professor Bambi, Kevin W, Jason F, Kimberly, the Falcons Diva, Derek, why did I just blank on Derek's name? What just happened? Derek LW, there you go. Ken M, Lawrence C, and lastly Zach from the Living Corporate Podcast. Thank you to everybody that took the time to hook us up, man. We appreciate y'all. All right. Let the choir play us out. All right, 5-star review time. All right, you know those are the only ones we read as long as they're nice. That's it. It's a very simple rule. My longest listened to and favorite podcast of all time, 5 stars from Reigns, who says Blackout Tips. I don't remember exactly how long I've been listening to the Blackout Tips, but I know that Rod and Karen have been my favorite podcast for a very long time. Before I found them, maybe in 2016 when Kanye made that song about Taylor Swift, I mostly listened to podcasts hosted by people who weren't Black. But from the moment I found them, they were a gateway into all the great Black podcasting universe. The Chitlin Circuit, as we call it.
Yes, sir.
Which I wish I found years ago when I first started listening to podcasts in 2006. They both have great perspectives on a variety of topics, and while I don't agree with every opinion they have, like sugar on grits being bad or Arby's not being good, why am I lying? I never ate Arby's. Right. Y'all just want to be contrarian. It's cool. It's cool. No restaurant in the world got sugar grits on it, but sure. Okay.
Fake protesting.
Yeah. I do find myself agreeing with the vast majority of their takes on things. One of the best things about the show for me was during the 2020 election, Rod was a voice of reason when my anxiety about what could happen was raging, and it's usually Rod was right. You know, I'm not saying I'm right all the time, but I'm right enough that, you know, I have a song.
Rod is right. Yep, Rod is right. Rod is right. Rod is right. Yep, Rod is right. Yeah, Rod is right. Whoop, what was that again? Oh yeah, Rod was right. Rod was right.
He says, this podcast would also eventually become the very first podcast that I gave money to, with me becoming a premium listener, and that even further allowed me to listen to topics I generally don't participate in, with me not being a sports fan other than the politics of sports. So Balls Deep Sports is right up my alley. Another great thing about this show is that I eventually moved to Charlotte, and hearing them talk so positive about the city they grew up in, it made my move down there smoother than I thought it would be coming from NYC. Oh, that's what's up.
Thank you.
Welcome to our neck of the woods. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but I just want to say that you are probably the only people who I would think of as friends without ever having met y'all. Even though I did have a chance to at the last live show, but I will say that I will stay to say hi, even if y'all. Oh, I will stay to say hi if y'all do a live show again. Keep doing what y'all doing, and you will always have a listener in me, Reigns. Thank you, Reigns.
Yeah, thank you, Reigns. We do.
That's so sweet.
That's so sweet and lovely. And we do plan on doing another live show. When we get everything together, we'll let y'all
yeah, know. And stay out there and say hey, man. That's so dope. Hey. And yeah, man, it's just so dope. I made allusion to a 1-star review we got that was so corny and stupid. And you know, I read it on the show just because it was funny.
Yes.
Just what people say, but you know, it always warms my heart when somebody says some whack shit, and then, you know, you get all this love from other people. It's like, that's right. The vast majority of people love what we do, and they're not trolling, and they don't want to like make us feel bad.
Correct.
You know, and now obviously people that aren't jerks, if they don't like something, they just typically tune out. They don't leave a negative review. That's such a corny thing to do.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of stuff I listen to I don't like. You know what I do? I go on to the next one, or skip, or go on by my way and go to other things that I like, love, and enjoy.
Yeah, I've never left a 1-star review for a podcast. Now, there's a lot of 1-star podcasts out there in my opinion, but
it is.
It's just, if I didn't like it, then I didn't like it. And that was it. Anyway. I love that y'all leave 5. 5 stars. Thanks y'all for the years of content, says JP with a bunch of numbers. Thank you, JP.
Thank you. It ain't got to be long, y'all. It ain't got to be long. And like me and Roger said before, and I will continue to say this, you know, everybody talk about how much they love us, how we make y'all laugh, how y'all love Roger's voice on Drapetomaniacs. Y'all was like, oh, Karen was shining over there when she was on there. I want you to give me a 5-star review to show us how much y'all love me and Roger. Like those matter in the rankings and things like that. And also it overshadows the people that like I said are negative. Because guess what? They can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, honestly, don't worry about the algorithm of Spotify or Apple or whatever with the 5-star reviews. Worry about the algorithm of our hearts, okay?
That matters a lot more.
We need to aggregate that shit. I need some positivity.
I need love.
My favorite nerds. This is from Newsy Chew. I know this person.
I do too.
I love being a premium subscriber to this podcast because along with free news and entertainment, I also get in-depth reviews of media from people whose opinions I've come to trust. Also, they trick me into critical thinking, so kind of my life is better for listening. Well, you know what? That's what we try to do. We try to trick you into critical thinking.
Yeah, we do.
I'm like, gotcha. Now look at you, thinking twice. Yatunguiz, I hope I said that right, or Yatunguez maybe, says, love y'all. Rod and Karen have become my best couple friends in my head. My husband has been listening for over 10 to 12 years now. That's pretty much the whole show.
Ain't it though?
And I started listening around 2015 or so. I finally got around to leaving a review. Always reasoned, always well informed and thought out. I truly enjoy this show, even on the rare occasion when I disagree. Also, it was great meeting them at the last live show a few weeks ago. Looking forward to years of listening. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, man, like I don't know. I used to like kind of hate when people be like, even when I disagree, because I'm like, what about what, nigga? You know, but what you don't think gay people is humans? Like, because you know, people couch a lot of stuff in that, and a lot of, you know, one thing I do, and I hope our podcast does give people this, and I don't mean this in the facetious or the like pat yourself on the back way, but like it should be okay to disagree with people, even if y'all both thought it out and just like I'm more
conclusions. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the logic of disagreements than the whether or not we disagree, because I think there's times you can learn stuff from people that don't agree with you because they're reasoned. They thought about it. And, you know, also we're all different. We have different emotional blocks and triggers and shit. So, you know, people might not come to the full same conclusion as you, but I think we lost something in the discourse on online and on podcasts and all that stuff when it just became like we all have to agree on everything all the time, because I feel like that's never gonna work, and a lot of times you can be misled or used because people do that, because it's really more about peer pressure and stuff, and so you end up with we all must hate Chris Pratt, we all must hate Taylor Swift, we all must love so and so, and it's that weirdness that always skeeves me out.
Yeah, you get caught up in that matrix. And also, it's one of those things, like when you look at the bigger picture kind of it, a lot of times when people are at different points in their lives, and I know I've been like this before, sometimes somebody would say something and you might not be in the place to hear what they got to say. You might not have never experienced it before, or whatever the case may be. So I understand, you know, we say things, people feel a certain way because, you know, just like you have your own personal life experiences, we do too. And so, you know, sometimes we say things, people blow it off, and we've had people wrote in. It was like, well, I'm glad that y'all continually hounded on this, because eventually I did understand, or I did come around, but, you know, it took somebody saying something outside of what you were used to and what you digested. And, you know, sometimes, like a lot of things, when I'm including myself, when people are in their thing or in their mess or whatever it is, and somebody kind of, you know, points it out, not in a negative way, but points it out, but hey, have you ever considered these behaviors are affecting you? The first thing is naturally just to reject it. And, you know, so I'm glad that, you know, people's life experience has came around where they can see it. And sometimes you might not never see it, but that's fine too, because we've all lived different life experiences.
The best, and then the thing for me is we always keep the door open for respectful disagreement.
Correct.
That's what this show is. This feedback show is everybody's opportunity to say how they feel. And as long as they keep it respectful, we will keep it respectful back. I'm not saying we wouldn't make a joke or something. We are a comedy show.
Oh, yeah.
But we always unless you hit us with some fucked up energy, we don't be out here calling people out their names and assuming the worst of people and shit. We try our best not to do that. So to me, I almost hate to say it, but like there's never a reason to leave a 1-star review for us. There's never a reason to even write in and say some like sideways shit to us, really, because we're not putting that energy out towards people to be like that,
Yeah, we're not giving that antagonistic energy.
Yeah. But also the next person says music is my life too. From America, 5 stars. The best podcast. I've been a listener of this podcast since 2018. Ryder Karen are the best. Thank you, man. Y'all came through this last 2 weeks.
Yes, come on through.
5 stars for life, says survey says. This show is the gift that keeps on giving. I rarely listen to anything else because I know Ryder and Karen are going to deliver every time. The comedy is hilarious. They drop that knowledge on you, and the music on the show is fab, made, and super creative. Love, love, love the show. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to the people that send us music.
Achievement unlocked. Rob is how this one starts. It's from Fia 311. Rob. It's so crazy. You talked about the documentary Twin Flames. I watched this past week and it was like, this issue is wild. Agree with everything you said. The section about transitioning was so problematic and did, in fact, to me, give very anti-trans rhetoric, which made me sick to my stomach because it was disguised as pro-trans rhetoric.
Right.
Yeah, and like, what's Phil, what's real fucked up about it is that at the end of the day, those people that run that Twins Flame thing, it's just the money. So they just willing to say anything. They'll disguise it as however they need to disguise it. But at the end of the day, it was whatever it took to keep those people giving them money. And I mean, I know cults do a thing to people's minds. And it's like, if you ain't been through it or whatever, like maybe you can't understand it. That's probably why I can't really relate in that type of way. Right. But when you're talking about literally having surgery on my body, because as far as you're concerned, my twin flame, quote unquote, has to be another member of the cult since my original person left. That's so convenient.
Right.
And so profitable for them to do. It's just fucked up. I was so happy they had someone who was in the trans community give a point of view on that section. Yeah, that was extremely important. I also agree with Karen that because of the pandemic and so many people reaching out for any kind of connection, it made it very easy for this couple to prey on the vulnerable because so many of us were during that time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also what I've realized is during the pandemic, and it's been about 3 years, for some people, there's still a residual PTSD, and mine isn't nearly as bad as it used to be, but every now and then it will flame up. Mm-hmm. And when it does, for a lot of people, you can see it online and you can see it how they respond. Like you could just see it. Well, I go, oh, this is a trauma response based off of something that happened during the pandemic. Because yes, there are a lot of jobs that now are pushing for people to go back to work. And you can see people's PTSD from that. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of jobs that have not required people to come back to work. And not funny, you can see PTSD from that because, it has to be a balance for a lot of people because jobs are in a kind of a hard place right now. They're trying to find a balance between the workers who got to be back and the workers that were like, hey, I just want to do hybrid. And the workers that are like, I want to stay at home, but also the workers themselves sometimes need to be truthful to themselves because there are some people that are working from home that might actually benefit from hybrid or benefit from going in and have people interaction because that loneliness thing is real.
Right.
And it's actually affecting everything.
Yeah, I think, it's just also probably an age thing for those of us that grew up without the internet until a certain age that from my brain just feels like it would have clicked off the second they tried to cult me on Zoom. It's like, well, you're on Zoom. Yeah, turning this off.
We didn't grow up with it.
You don't exist to me anymore. But they go on, but still couldn't be me. Oh, that old black Negro spiritual.
Ain't that a spiritual? Couldn't be me.
LOL, such a wild documentary. FYI, there are 2 of these documentaries. Shaking my head. It's on Prime. Love what you and Karen do. Hey, girl, you have an amazing week. Thanks, Phil. And I think that hey, girl was for Karen.
Yay!
The other thing I will say, and I keep finding myself in this position. I know other people do it. I cannot watch 2 documentaries on the same shit.
Yeah,
like ever since Fire Fest, I've been like, I got all the information. I'm good. Like y'all got one time to get me. Is it Woodstock 99 on Netflix or on HBO Max? Only one of y'all getting the click.
Right, because a lot of times, sometimes some are better than others, and then a lot of times it's the same information.
Yeah, I just don't like repeating 90% of the same information to learn 10% new. Somebody will tell me. Yeah, like when the Woodstock 99, when it was like, oh well, you know, they had this whole thing from DMX on the HBO Max one. I'm like, well, glad you told me. I'm not watching 3-4 hours to find out the same shit.
Right.
Achievement. Bestest and very consistent podcast from Unrelaxed Missy says, still listening, still a fan. Love the new weapon of the show. Could you explain Bullet Ball and Bullet Ball Extreme? Thank you, Rod and Karen. Listen, the best way to learn about Bullet Ball and Bullet Ball Extreme is to go wherever you listen to our podcast, search our podcast name and Bullet Ball. We have several episodes where we've highlighted exactly why we use Bullet Ball for the unofficial sport. And they're all hilarious. And you should want to go back and listen to all of them.
Each one is
the last one was our live show from this year.
Yes.
We re-explained the Bullet Ball thing live in front of an audience with us playing the clips, and that episode is out right now. So yeah, we've explained it many times, and we would love for you to listen to them.
We would.
5 stars. Finally got an iPhone, so 5 more stars since Stitcher say that shit 3 times fast. Since Stitcher shut down. Ugh. Love the show. Karen is the best. Rod is okay. Just kidding, but sugar goes on grits. DJ 936.
Oh,
why don't y'all start a motherfucking Sugar Grits restaurant? How about that? Why don't y'all do that shit and go out of business in 2 days? Nobody want that shit.
And also, it was so funny. I was thinking about Stitcher the other day. Yeah, we've been doing this thing so long. We was around before Stitcher. And for people that remember it was around, we were around before Stitcher and was like, what's Stitcher? Push Stitcher. Stitcher hanged around. Now Stitcher gone, and we still going strong.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yep. Yeah, even if you just Google the Blackout Tips Bullet Ball, $17.97 Bullet Ball Explained, $22.71 Bullet Ball 2021, episode 26, that's a Bullet Ball.
26, woo!
Episode 1095 Bullet Ball Redux. Yeah, we have explained this many times,
and we probably
many times, and we will be doing it again if you stick around and listen long enough.
Yes.
Probably in a year or two. But yeah, we love some Bullet Ball. Okay. All right, I think that's all the reviews that we got. So let me play some music so I can put a commercial in here later on. Feel like Mobb Deep gonna rap over that shit.
Come on, that beat go hard.
All right, first episode is 2801 Masters Big House Amusement Park. That was a funny email we got that sparked that, and of course it was a very long feedback show. It was, I want to say, almost over 4 hours.
Yeah, y'all had a lot to say.
Yeah, we try not to make that a habit, you know. Appia says, listen to the feedback show is educational. This time I learned that my given name, Dorothea, is a black name in the U.S. Imagine this on Guess the Race. A couple, Andre and Dorothea, went out to a Thai restaurant, and Dorothea got into a fight because the food wasn't spicy enough. Yeah, I would have guessed black.
I would have too and been wrong.
Appia says, I can't sing, and my dancing is maybe C+, and it's only because I'm very flexible that I can move my body great, but I don't know about my rhythm or actual moves. But hey, I still had the spicy food. EVE says, don't give up your pursuit of a black friend, Appia. I'm rooting for you. Evie also roots for Arby's. Abby says, thanks, I believe it too. Pamela M8 says, hey, yes, historically black phrases. Got it on hold at my local library, reading Black as Fuck History on my Kindle now. Can't wait to get this new book. Hope you enjoyed your well-deserved weekend off. I'm listening to the archive on Spotify to keep me company. Currently listening to a considerably shorter feedback episode, 27/7 from February 25th, 2012, called Mel Booyah. Pamela. Yeah, I mean,
that title, y'all, we talk so much I don't even remember, but that title sounds hilarious.
Yeah,
and that makes me laugh.
Ernest says, checking in for the wrestling fan dickhead demographic, and y'all might not know that the padded folding chairs at the wrestling shows are the ground floor seats. Haven't been to the big pay-per-view shows in a while, but back when I used to go to the Royal Rumble or something like that, the expensive ass floor seats were those padded folded chairs with commemorative designs on them. And if you pay enough, you can leave with the chair.
And shit, I didn't know that.
In all honesty, Rod, I also thought that handing out folded chairs at the wrestling show was a bad idea. But at least they have the padded ones, and it's probably helped out a little bit with packing up after the event. Thanks for the show, and shout out to the chat room. Thank you.
The more you know. Thank you, baby. I didn't know that.
The Pink Superhero says, thanks for sharing Drapetomaniacs with us. There really is nothing like it. Very well done. Enjoyed hearing Karen on that last episode. Have a restful time off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone loved Karen. Karen did so good.
Yay.
Bokai says, Rod, please forgive me for sleeping on Drapetomaniacs. Love your voice acting. Hey, listen, you're not sleeping on it anymore, so it's all water under the bridge to me. Thank you for listening. Sean says, Drapetomaniac's final episode was amazing. Karen, you were great. Also, the penultimate episode with that guy who nobody knew interviewing the cast was amazing. Thank you, Sean.
That was the funniest shit ever.
Classic R&B lover says, hi, Rod and Karen. Knowing that you try to provide context to all things, I wanted to bring this bit of coronavirus commentary to you. I was watching the news, and they were talking about the fact that thus far, fewer people have gotten the new COVID-19 vaccine than in previous years. And are there people who have decided that COVID is in the rearview window of their lives? Undoubtedly. However, having just come from my vaccination, I see why those who got the shot before are not doing so now. The cost that I'm fortunate enough to have my insurance cover in full was $185 because the government is no longer underwriting the cost. As a person with pre-existing conditions, I would have had to figure out where the money was coming from, but I would have paid it because we're talking about my life. I'm lucky enough to be able to make that decision, but what if I were uninsured or underinsured? What if instead of being single, I had to pay the amount for me and my kids or elderly parents? I don't know what I could or would be able to swing that. Knowing this, the people aren't getting the vaccine reports that don't address the multiple factors that are impacting the low updated vaccination rates just piss me off. P.S. Drake the Man's podcast is so damn good. Hopefully there will be a season 2.
And I agree. And this is one of the reasons why, when the government was paying for it, me and Roger really pushed, hey, don't fuck around. Me and Roger said this years ago. We was like, eventually, they're not going to cover this.
Yep.
And people going to have to pay out of pocket. Y'all better go ahead and get these shots now while it's free. They wouldn't ask for insurance. You could, every time they say renew, you could just show up. Because even if we had Democrats in office, the government was not going to subsidize this forever. They just wouldn't and they couldn't. They would just society just would not allow that. And this is one of the things what happens when you don't eradicate shit. Not only in America, nowhere around the world eradicated it. So it was eventually going to be something that we were going to live with. As somebody who wanted the world to be COVID free, me myself, maybe this is just me. I had to mentally wrestle with that. That's why I was so angry for so long. I've calmed down a lot on that topic, but I would be so angry for so long and so livid because I was like, it didn't have to be like this, y'all.
Yeah, I think at the fact that no country was able to get through this unscathed, just to me should push the rage back into the bottle.
Correct.
Because even the countries that have dictatorships where people don't even have human rights, and they were able to literally lock people down, just take away their cell phone and access to their lives, still had huge COVID numbers. It was going to get to this point I think the thing that made me most angry is the misinformation, the wantonness, the willful ignorance, the like people that are they think they're being anti-authority when they're just being anti-expertise.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing bothered me. And the rise of these grifters and shit, it bothers me and it will always bother me. But the sober part of my mind is like, nah, at the end of the day, we said on the show a million times, we're always going to end up having to live with this. And that means some people having to die with this. And there was never going to be a way around it. It's literally a virus that's better and smarter than our medicines. And it's definitely better and smarter than us because half of our populace is just trying to be willfully ignorant about it. But I love that you wrote in with that context because it does matter. And I'm going to try to remember to make sure I say it every time because that 7% number is disappointing. And I think even if you account for people that can't afford it or insurance and stuff like that, I still think that 7% numbers is much lower than it should be because
yes,
people do work and have insurance in America, and a lot of them still aren't getting it. You know, they just decided they're out. You know, and I don't know what you do with that other than try to protect yourself with the latest vaccines if you can.
Right, and that's what happened, particularly here in America, where it's like fuck it, every man for themselves, and it would be very different if we were.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. There's other countries that didn't have that mentality that have these numbers.
Oh yeah.
So what do we say for that? Like, we know America has some terrible stuff and all that shit, but at the end of the day, even like South Korea is dealing with it.
And I understand that. I'm not saying that. I think the number would be higher than 7%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not that it would be 100, but another reason why it is 7%. In addition to what the person was saying is because we are one of the few huge countries that don't have universal health care.
Right.
And so I think if we had that, the number, even if it was 20%, it would be fucking higher than 7.
I wonder. I'm about to look up some other countries in the next few weeks or something. Cause
okay, please do.
I wonder how many people are taking up these boosters because I think a lot of people are like, we out the house. You know what I mean? And I expect us to be low because you know how trash the politics and politicization of things are. But I do wonder if that's something unique to America, or if we're gonna find out, oh, in the UK, only 12% of people got the jab. Oh, in South Korea, only this many people got the booster.
And all these people out here, I'm pretty sure somebody somewhere, all these, articles they write up, somebody got that article out there somewhere. I have to look into it. But I would love to see those statistics because that's just my hypothesis. You know, like I said, not that it would be quote unquote sky high, but I think will be high to 7.
The comments on YouTube, I can play catch up while you both are resting, relaxing, and releasing. You deserve. Thank you, Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
So Yida says that menu. Thank you. We're talking about the menu to Massa's plantation. Massa's big house amusement plantation.
Come on, soft shoes.
Michael says, I can't leave a comment on Apple, so I came over to this platform. You are not right in your head for saying, give me your grit money. I've been laughing so hard, I can't keep nothing down. Drapetomania episode was a bomb, Karen. Great writing. Thank you for the entire series. Yeah, I think I wonder if that was like Janisha's doing the give me your grit money line, because I think that's from Dr. Umar or something. She did a lot of sound design stuff. Mel says, when I saw the length of the podcast, it took me back to the 2014 shows. Yes, get me through my entire shift.
Yeah, that's when we did do like a few shows a week, and so yeah, they would be super long.
Yeah. Also, another reason I want to do a 4-hour show, it was really hard to upload that to YouTube.
Oh, YouTube was like
my computer could not even handle the editing to cut the music out. So if y'all see me trying to like keep this episode moving, because we got 8 people that left voicemails, some of y'all left 2 and 3. It's because of that. I'm not trying to be curt or be mean, but it's like we do 4 hours. It's just shit just may not get uploaded.
YouTube's like, look, I can't.
It's not YouTube, it's my computer. The computer can't handle trying to do that much editing. So not with the quality of video and stuff. Linda says there's nothing that is perfect, and honestly, everything is perfect if you're happy and together. That's your story. Don't let the illusions of someone else's happiness and what you imagine it to be stop you from yours. Rod Morrow. Rod was spitting bars here. What a poetic way to end the episode. Your words need to be tattooed across the sky. Rod and Karen shared their story and inspired someone to take that journey of marriage together. That's powerful, guys. Congratulations to the Houston couple. I wish you all the joy in your life. Yeah, and listen, we're starting a new thing. It's called Twin Fires, and it's gonna be through Zoom. We need all that couple's money.
No.
So send us, we need your cars, whatever property you have in your name, because our love story will teach you how to have love. Karen, you're talking yourself out of money. Please stop. Please stop.
I am.
Please stop. See, this is when a man is talking. When a man is talking, the Bible says, let the women be silent. I don't know that it say that, but it feels right.
I'm good.
Karen didn't watch the documentary, y'all. She don't know about this money. P.S. Sorry, I find a new twin flame. I'm gonna get to this bread. Okay, whatever I got to do.
I guess you're gonna have to then.
P.S. Enjoy your time off. I can now try to get caught up on episodes, list your podcast recommendations, and guest appearances on other podcasts. Karina says, love this 4-hour episode. Thanks, all. Sylvia says, don't expect your job to love you unless you own it or else it owns you. A quote I dropped in 2015. Okay, quoting myself. I like you, Sylvia. I like that. Put that on the shirt.
You was dropping gems, wouldn't you?
AJ says, wait, who didn't love Groupie Tales? Hating ass Terrell Jones was the GOAT.
Come on, I love hating ass Terrell Jones.
Dog, at every stage, no matter how fun and popular something's been on our show, we have enough listeners at this point. It's some motherfucker that don't like it. And at the end of the day, okay. Not everything we're going to do is going to be designed for every single user to like it at every single point. It's just, if you don't have the humanity in you to tolerate, like, oh, okay, they're making jokes about this for the next month or so, then just dip. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, we talk about so much shit. Trust, if it's something you don't like or you zone out, we'll be on to something else.
And then this was like Anulio says, 87% of joints, my God. Ha! I don't even remember what that's in reference to. But it must have been good. The poll was, have you used your vacation days this year? Yes, all of them. Yes, some of them. No. 21%, all of them. Y'all ain't going to the new year with no hangovers.
And y'all got them jobs. They be like, use it or lose it.
Maybe. They might or may not. I don't know what kind of job they got. But they said they used them all for this year so far.
Shit, use them up.
And yes, some of them, 68% said some of them, or really about 69%. Nice. And then no, 10% of y'all have not used your vacation days this year.
We in November. What is you doing?
And on Spotify, it's 27% you have used them all. 50% have only used some, and 23% have not used them at all, really. So I wonder if that's because y'all are just the movers and shakers. Y'all think y'all can't.
CEOs of y'all companies, so y'all like, who take time off?
Let me tell you something. If you die, they're gonna replace you. You might as well take them times off.
Child, yes they are. Child, you'll be on Indeed for your body get cold.
The Q&A was we were taking some time off, and pretty much everybody had the same like enjoy your time off type of things. A couple people had something different. I'll read theirs. LOL, I'm not gonna lie, Paul sauce sounds fire.
Come on, don't it though?
And I'm sorry to that brother. Good luck in your race. 4 hours and loved every second. Will be patiently awaiting your return to my airways, says Creasy. Okay, somebody Raphael said he's gonna be listening to Drapetomaniacs. Alani said to enjoy our time off as well. Blah blah blah. I have 20 use or lose days at my job. They're gonna be real mad when I take an entire month off. That's what I would do.
Chad, I don't blame you. You be like, these are y'all, and I tell them, I said, these are y'all rules, so I'm gonna use them.
I used to take like every Friday off sometimes for like either the summer or like in the like holiday season. Just take every Friday off, 4-day work week or less. Let's see, anybody else? I always use my PTO. If I have some rollover at the end of the year, I punch the air. Let's see. Tori says she tries to use as much PTO as possible. If I don't use them, I lose them, and fuck that. Yep,
you earned it.
Enjoy your time off. I use it to binge straight to Maniacs episodes. I've been saving them. And 3 Guys On. Also, I love the new ad. It's my fave. Next to the disrespectful pickup artist one. Yeah, I don't even remember the disrespectful pickup artist one. I don't know. In my mind, I thought I had made a new version of that, but now you just made me think maybe I already did it before. So yeah, thank you everybody who left those messages. And then that's it for this episode. Let's go to the next one, which is 2802. Kiki Palmer had 9 comments. Let's see. Mike says, per the poll, which was, would you post your late parents' porn collection on social media? Per the poll, I wouldn't do it, but I totally understand. When I lost my mom, anything that made me laugh was a needed distraction from grief. To some extent, I think we all overshare online. Hey, Mike. Yeah, when I first saw that video, I something jumped out at me. I don't know what it came from, but maybe it was a brief Republican moment. I was like, why would you do that to your father? I thought you loved him. Was he a deadbeat? Was he abusive? Why are you exposing this man? But I think also when I saw the video, it didn't have her caption on it.
Right.
So when I read her caption on Instagram, I was like, oh, nah, if she's saying he was funny and he would have loved it, then it's all good.
Right.
If he would have got a kick out of it, who gives a fuck? Because I know I joke about porn and shit like that too. So, it's now it's me making a joke, and it's, it's not like someone coming into my house and looking through my computer like, big butts number 7, like that. That's different. But the point
on
being,
the point number 52.
Yeah, if he think it's funny, it's funny. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars and welcome back, Rod and Karen. Thank you both for continuing to inform the public about the issues that matter the most. My heart goes out to Kiki and all the people with children who suffer in silence because they are victims of domestic abuse. Tisha Campbell, please do not ever change. Justin says Rod is always getting on Karen for not allowing him to finish his joke. Oh, how the turntables have turned on this episode with Karen's toilet humor. Yeah. Yep. I didn't know line was part of the jokes. I fucked up. I made a mistake.
It always makes me laugh. And I think sometimes the way I present things is different than the way Roger presents things. So sometimes he kind of is thinking ahead of what I'm saying. And sometimes he'll be like, just get to the point. I'm like, well, damn.
Yeah. It's not get to the point. It's just, I think people aren't, maybe not you. I don't know. I'm listening to you.
Yes.
So when you start saying something and it's under banter, which I didn't know was like our stand-up set. I thought it was, stuff that happened or that we thought about. And you presented it like it really was a thing that's happening. Like when I go into the bathroom and I put down the paper on the thing, and I'm like, you put paper down in our bathroom?
Yes.
And why wouldn't you just clean the bathroom? Why, like, what?
Yeah, Roger.
Our bathroom's not disgusting. Why do you have people out here in the world thinking that our bathroom, it needs that we use personally? That's what I was thinking in my head.
Yes, and I should have put the disclaimer up front because, like you said, it wasn't like
then you say, I think, no offense, everybody, I think you kind of messed up because then you said you meant to say public bathrooms.
Yes.
Which, yeah, that's, of course. If you said, I'm going, whenever I'm in a public bathroom, I like to put down the sheet on top. I'm like, oh, yeah, everyone knows that. So it's just, it's the delivery. I'll take the slings and arrow for it, but, that's the difference in the joke working or not joke working.
Right, and that's why he's a professional writer and I am not.
We could have touched it up a little bit, but that was once you said that, it was funny. It was fun.
Yeah, he had to punch it up. He can't help himself. He got to punch my shit up. He got to make me better, y'all. So, we working, and in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna get to the joke. He was like, no, this is not how you form jokes, Karen. Form your jokes better.
The thing that's gonna make the joke work is the premise being right. So
yes, my premise was
wrong. If the premise is I put down a sheet of paper in my bathroom to use it, it's just now people are like, does she have OCD?
Like,
do they got rats and roaches in their house?
Right.
How nasty is this person? Appia says people who post 1-star reviews because they don't like one segment, maybe find the fast forward button on your phone first. It's less work than the review, and you don't need to listen to a segment you don't like. Life hack. Yeah, skip the episode. I don't give a fuck. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're not holding anybody hostage.
No.
So you don't like something, you more than don't like it. Even if you do want to leave a 1-star review, that's totally up to you. But it does make you a cornball. I'm sorry, I'll never not look at it that way. But
Agreed.
fine. I love everything about the show, but I don't care about sports. But this is not a problem at all. Other people enjoy it, and if I love 99% of the show, that's fantastic. I know as a white person, I'm under suspicion to be dirty. I know stuff and go with the times and even wash my legs every day. I wash everything every day. From my hair, I know the uncomplicated hair privilege. I'm sorry, that's what grows on my head for free, to my feet. But I don't mind public toilets unless it's a real shit show. Ha ha. I sit down, your skin has you covered. The barrier in it is a built-in shield against bacteria and other disgusting visitors. I trust it. It's never disappointed me. Yeah, I hear you. It only take one time though. But I hear you. I try to keep it as clean as I can in there, man. I wipe down everything. If they have those toilet things, I try to use it. Like, I don't trust people in the bathroom, and it can be disgusting, but that's also why I try to use the bathroom at my house. That's how I measure my success. If I'm able to use the bathroom in my house,
it's very successful,
and I'm still making money, then I'm doing some things right. Tanisha says, damn, I paid the fool who posted that petty 1-star review. Keith says, my grandma on my mom's side died when I was a teenager, so a few weeks later when my mom was up to it, she and her sibling went to my grandma's house to clean out her room. When my grandma came home, she was grinning and giggling. When my mom came home, she was grinning and giggling. She, of course, took my mom's death pretty hard, so her demeanor and this was a welcome change in her mood. So I asked her what was funny. She couldn't stop giggling, and she made me promise not to tell anybody. Yeah, I guess I'm doing that now, but none of you knew my grandma, so it doesn't count. Then she told me she found something funny in grandma's room and showed me a lighter that was shaped like a dick. My mom was... My mom was so tickled because my grandma was a super holy church lady, and none of us knew that she had that kind of sense of humor. I know my parents both have some porn, but I'm not going to do them like that when the time comes. I'm just going to delete their browser history, and nobody will ever need to know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not blowing my parents up for no clout. But you know, if that's what y'all parents is into, that's what y'all parents into. But I can't. EVE says, the more that comes out about the Keke Palmer news, the more I believe that nigga did that shit. He's not doing himself any favors by releasing audio of her mother, because if someone was putting hands on my daughter, I would threaten violence as well, minus the homophobia. Yeah, I didn't even... I need to go back because I didn't even finish listening to that, and I heard people were like, she outed Usher as being gay and all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I guess what she was trying to say, like, you worried about Usher taking your girl and he gay or something, and I think, I don't know, I'm pretty sensitive to this idea that, and I guess people think it's funny or whatever, but there's something extremely homophobic to me about this. Everybody's secretly gay, and this rumor mill about it. And especially when you tie it to people who do unscrupulous things, because I think the underlying thing is these people do these things because this is what gay people do. And it's not that far removed from the gay people groom, gay people molest children, gay people are rapists, gay people, you know, like people are trying to say that with Puff Daddy. They're sharing these clips, these old clips of people alleging he's gay or on the down low and going, so-and-so knew the whole time. I'm like, what did you mean he knew? Because the allegations against him and Cassie are him beating her, sexually assaulting her, watch other men
which
have
has
sex.
Nothing to do with this.
What you know? What are you talking about at that point? Because that's not a gay trait,
right?
And if we're going by propensity to violence, that's a very straight man trait. If we're gonna talk, if we really want to talk about it
statistically.
So I don't really like the I don't know, the homophobic like who's on the down low, who we caught doing this, that, and that. I don't like that part of it. And I think people should be a little more thoughtful about what they share. Because right now you're just sharing shit because you're like, anything that is something that is funny or negative about this person, I'm going to share it like it's evidence. And it's really getting out of control.
Yes. And also a lot of people like that I'm gonna keep it real. They've never been in a position, or their life has never got to the point where people gave a fuck enough about them to monitor their lives this much with anything and everything. They could just run with it, because a lot of these people, you'd be like, "Hey, dog, if this was you," and people just were like, I heard," you would be like, "Hey, dog, like the fuck is this?" Like you would have a problem with people taking rumors as facts.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things that's very irresponsible and homophobic, but it's people, and I guess to some extent, it's one of those things that lets you know that no matter how woke and smart and everybody claims to be, everyone's capable of kind of having that like childish moment, and I guess that's humanizing to a certain extent, and maybe it's the time where everyone can kind of get themselves out of being a stick in the mud. But yeah, I see people all the time that claim that that's a huge violation, and they're making jokes like, ha ha ha, this video about this man saying Dwayne Martin was fucking Will Smith, hilarious, here's a meme, here's a joke, and you're like, oh yeah, because y'all talk a good game, but y'all participate in the shit that you claim is vile,
right?
And I think it's hard for me to reconcile that in real time sometimes, because I feel like we're 2-3 months away from it. Let's say Will Smith does come out as gay. We're 2-3 months away from people being like, it was fucked up how he was outed. Well, y'all made jokes about it. Y'all thought it was cool and funny.
Yes. And, and that's kind of what I'm talking to, because nobody is above, I heard, type of thing. Nobody is. But, it's a difference between you going out, I heard these things may or may not be true, versus some people take them, I heard, as facts. Like those things are completely different.
Right. So I don't know. It's just, but yeah, the Usher, I just basically ignore shit like that. So if that's true about Usher, that is he'll be the one to tell us that shit.
Agreed.
And I think it's really not our business. But anyway, and it seems like there's a history of domestic violence in that family, because the mom has a restraining order against his father. His brother seems to be garbage too. I hope the baby won't remember any of this and won't be affected by his toxic father. Yeah, that's probably not possible. EVE says last week's election proved that voting still matters. There were a lot of big wins for Democrats. I made sure to vote, and our state elected another Democratic judge to our state Supreme Court to protect abortion rights. And on a local level, the Democrats swept my district for school board. These victories made me realize that all the doom and gloom so-called progressives on social media who constantly shit on Democrats but never have anything to say about Republicans are attention-seeking virtue signalers and perpetually online. I don't care if Joe Biden was 147 years old. I'd still vote for him over Trump.
Agreed. I 100% agreed, because a lot of those people online, their reality isn't real reality. And like I said, there are things that have happened, and I was like, oh, y'all niggas don't know what y'all talking about. I'm kind of just not trying funny, dismissing everything y'all are saying from this point forward.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it for years at this point. I'm glad people are seeing it, but I mean, the second you log into Twitter or whatever, or wherever you're on, I mean, the reality becomes what those people believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no evidence that'll ever change their mind, and there's no even if they, and there's nothing, even if they don't have evidence, it's gonna be the same shit. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And it's like a depressed hive mind. I just try to stay away from it. Some of my friends, people I think are pretty cool people, they're in that hive of everything's bad and they only retweet negative shit.
It's an addiction.
And I'll hit the mute button or whatever. It's like, you cool, but I don't want to log in and be depressed with you every day,
right?
Sharing the same 5 negative stories every day with each other. And it's all, it affects my mental health to see it all the time. So why would I participate? Mary says, my husband had to clear out his uncle's room when he passed suddenly of a heart attack. We had all been close and spent all our holidays together. His uncle was a burly Irishman who had been in the army, had a long career at the post office, and was a lifelong bachelor. He was pretty awkward but very kind. Anyway, when my husband cleared out his room, he found not only porn, but gay porn. He also found love letters to a man. We had no idea he was gay, and it actually left me quite sad that he was never able to be free to be himself in his lifetime. Yeah, or at least not, I guess, around y'all and stuff, right. Man. And who knows what hangups and things he had to deal with, dealing with all that, man.
Right.
So yeah, I feel you though. There is something sad about, that you can't like live out there like that. And even if you're just a private person, it's still like there's a reason that we keep finding private people having to be private about shit that ain't wrong. You know what I mean? Like, people don't have to be private about, unless they like cheating or some shit. You ain't got to be private about liking a girl, but all of a sudden it's like, well, just keep it to yourself. Let's see comments on YouTube for this one. For Kiki Palmer, we had 5. Trap King Nation just says, this is Sierra, by the way. Thank you, Sierra.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah, because I always get a little confused because it's like Sierra has several names.
Yes.
And I know Trap King Nation, which I've gotten stuff for my beard from. You got stuff for your hair from. And then I think it's like number 1 Feeling on Twitter, and then it's like Born Beautiful Natural. So you look, she got a lot of branding going on over there. All right. So sometimes, get confused. Dendrick says, Karen, ma'am, bunch of laughing emojis. Didn't say what you said, but I'm sure it was funny.
Oh, glad you liked whatever I said.
You'll be back soon. You'll see. You'll remember you belong to me. A little Hamilton for your review haters, says LaShonda. Thank you, LaShonda. My mom says, LOL, not the Keith Lee food review. Thanks, Mom. And Sayida says, I'm a woman of a certain age whose pee doesn't always come out straight, too.
I'm glad somebody else can relate.
And of course, we have the poll. The poll was, would you post your late parents' porn collection on social media? The results. One person, 3% said yes. 84% said no. And then 13% said, I guess we'll see. And I'm like, you know what? Y'all right. I actually agree with y'all. The ones that say, I guess we'll see. Because if you think about it, why would we let our parents off the hook right now? Who knows what they plan on doing to us before they die? So we got to keep them in line. Like, hey, don't
keep it a mystery.
Don't be trying to take me out the wheel and no shit, because y'all gonna end up, with your Pornhub, all your subscriptions gonna be out here in the afterlife.
Everybody gonna know what you was really into.
I'm gonna show up to the funeral and be like, Ebony A's. That's what he like. All right. The poll on Spotify is
big booty Bertha. That's what he was into.
Karen is making people up. I
am.
Would you post your late parents porn collection on social media on the Spotify? This one, 5%, which is more, 7 people said yes. So okay, maybe y'all got it like that. 80% said no, and then 15% said, I guess we'll see. And I'm saying, leave it open. I feel y'all. Don't
open-ended.
Don't keep them on their toes. Okay.
Yes, keep them on their toes.
Let's see. The Q&A was, you can't put me down if you never pick me up.
That's a true statement.
Magnificent Breeze says, I meant to write in earlier, but on Halloween, 8 kids OD'd on fentanyl. All happened at the same high school in Virginia. 5 were revived with Narcan and 3 had to receive CPR. Yeah, the problem with that is that shit ain't got nothing to do with Halloween candy.
Did they go door to door? Did they knock on somebody's door and somebody shot them? But that's the thing. People say that.
They didn't go to nobody's house and find the candy.
Right. Like I said, these things, and people use that as evidence to be like, people are giving out their drugs.
Here in Charlotte, the police put a bunch of corny, but they're trying. They put a bunch of stuff out there that basically said, like, be careful with fentanyl. And it was directed towards high school kids. And it was, it was corny because the slogans was like, no cap, fentanyl will kill you,
Not no cap.
Yeah. But the point being, like, it's a problem on its own. It ain't the Halloween, a Snickers bar had fentanyl in it. That's bullshit.
Right. They would get sued.
Kisha says, amen. D Gal says, I don't give out less than 5 stars. If I don't like content, I just don't follow. I don't hate listen. I enjoy y'all so much. Trust your recommendation. Nothing but love for you. Aaron says, preach. That's where that girl from TikTok. Where's that girl from TikTok with the notebook? Curly Nikki says, oh my God, I forgot about Groupie Tales. That segment was the best. The outro music, that Hayden dude who would leave a comment, so good.
Hayden is Terrell Jones.
Soul Power says, that's motherfucking balls, brother. Thank you. Nichelle says, posting this quote. Okay, I done made it to posting this quote status. Let's go.
Shit now. Moving on up in the world.
Jay says, word. Show enough says, Sean. People always trying to hate the greatest just for clout. Y'all been killing the game forever. Keep your foot on their neck, says Keith. Jeff says, that's some sparkle there. Puig says, that I'm here for this era. Rod talking his shit. You know, Sherry Maria is somewhere crying in the shower being told she is in fact not the main character. Cynthia says, that's a bar. Explosions. Yes. Where's my explosion sound effect? Here we go. Yeah. Fucking bars. Call him Rod the jeweler because he is dropping gems, says Leash. Thank you. That's all I'm saying. I just want my props. Okay? Giving everybody a little something to go off of. Put it on a t-shirt, you know. The next episode was Achievement Unlocked. We had 10 comments on this.
Woo, y'all had something to say.
You know, they keep saying like podcast listenership is going down, but I don't know. The way you niggas are applying, I feel like it's going up over here.
Yes, and we love it.
Bokai says, Whoopi reminds me of a relative after I took a break from college and moved back home. Chastised me for not paying for school, having my own place, and working a job. I had to pull out a calculator and adjust everything she listed for inflation to show her it is not 1975 anymore.
Come on.
I'm not saying the home and 2.5 kids is impossible, but it's just significantly harder to obtain.
Yes, sir.
Langston says, I feel like you should get an achievement every time your direct deposit hits your bank account.
Come on through.
Carmen says, the daring duo that got caught with the fireworks couldn't have had a better name. Stokes and Gunn? It's like, it's giving Hall and Oates vibes. Riggs and Murtaugh, they need a show. Yeah, Stokes and Gunn does sound, that's a gangster ass like couple. And they were stoking the fires from the fireworks.
Come on.
Keith says, I think my biggest real life achievement unlock moment is when I wash and dry my clothes, fold them, and put them away in the same day.
Child, yes. Child, that, you know what? That's our fucking rare achievement.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
That's when a woman, they be like, 0.09% of people in the world achieve this. That's what the fuck that is.
Keith goes on to say, other ones, remember to put gas in my car before I have to go to work the next day.
Yes, that's another rare achievement. Be lying to yourself. I'm gonna get up ready, bitch. No, you ain't. You be running on fumes.
Going to bed at a responsible time, which I'm failing to do right now, writing this comment, and making the last payment on a car note. Rare achievement sound.
Yes, and the student loan, extra rare achievement.
Obvious says, about the Housewives, I agree with Rod. Obviously, don't be racist. I don't watch the Housewives, but I know that when you don't create drama as a cast, when you don't create drama as a cast member, you lose your gig. Mm-hmm. So it's a fine line between be messy but not too much.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Hair straighteners. I believe in the chemical industry. They will find a way to create less harmful products when they have to. And the FDA's job is to regulate the market for health reasons, so they do exactly what they're supposed to. On generation bashing, I found it boring. The human race doesn't change so much in 30 years. Millennials are like 40 now. Stop it. Obvious says, I don't see how the FDA is what they're doing can be seen as bad. Okay, it can have some negative effects, but in the end, it's good. They investigated and found problems with the stringing products. Imagine them finding out and not acting if this got public. And also, it protects the people who deal with these products at work. They would be at high risk of getting harmed way more than their customers because of the high exposure to these products. Oh, straightening products. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with it. And as somebody who, has had their hair straightened a lot longer than I've had my hair natural, it is something about it. And as somebody who has a lot of Black women around them and things like that, when you start looking at these statistics, like I said, most, not all, have like a family history, an aunt, a cousin, a friend, some form of, ovarian cancer, full or partial hysterectomy, like something where you go, okay, like it's too many of us and generations of us going through this for this, for it not to be related to something in our environment, whatever it is. And so I appreciate them doing it and making them raise the standards. And the thing is, it's not Racist is caring about the people. What will be racist is them not doing it. What will be racist is them knowing this shit and not saying anything about it. And also, the thing about, I guarantee you, somebody black push this. When you see this shit where it's like, black, something where it's like soul food day, it's a lot of times it be black people pushing this shit. Because a lot of times nobody else cares about this shit but us.
Yeah, and I think, on the fucking with black people scale, you can be fucked with by something that's actually ultimately a good thing, just because it's like this was a thing in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard to think of hair care in the black community without thinking about, cancers, ovarian cysts, fertility rates, maternal health. Like, it's attached to a lot of stuff. Obviously, colorism, black beauty standards, a bunch of stuff. And so I think that's why you catch people, or that's why we feel away, even if ultimately we think this is a good thing.
Right.
Abby also says, one more for the FDA. The chief scientist is a black woman since 2022. I looked it up. This seems to me like progress and also possible explanation for why they are looking closer at products harming black women especially. Right. She is not ignoring it anymore. I agree. Mm-hmm. Evie says that Twin Flames documentary on Netflix was wild. There's another documentary that came out in October on Prime about this group that was also good, and I recommend. I think the difference between the two documentaries is that the Prime documentary focuses more on the two scammers and the Netflix documentary focuses more on the victims, but both pretty mind-boggling. Still don't understand how people are in a cult on Zoom, and those two weirdos convince people to transition when they weren't trans. I just don't understand being that lonely. Yeah, like I said, cult things are so weird because I look at the human mind has to be, to some extent, essentially like a computer, like a machine. Mm-hmm. And the same way you can like hack a machine, you can clearly obviously hack the human mind, because why else would it doesn't even make sense that cults exist. They always exist. They always get members. They always have like people's money and stuff. And that the programming is always basically the same, starving people and physical intimidation and stuff. So it's clear that it's possible, but I can't lie, I have a hard time not judging, and maybe that's why they get people. It's because we all think we're too smart, and of course nobody, maybe not, I shouldn't say nobody, but obviously there's a lot of people that aren't too smart that clearly fall for this stuff.
And it's one of those things where, like you say, for a lot of people, and even some of the people that end up falling into the cults, some of those people, some of the same people that were like, it could be me,
maybe,
so, not all the time, but
what
so,
can I know?
So I think that it's almost like cults and like scammers, because they kind of fall in the same category to me. Everybody thinks they're above getting scammed until they got scammed. They're like, damn, I'm the dumb one. And it's like, sometimes, you might be more susceptible than others, but people feel like everybody feel like they're exception to the rules until they're not.
Evie, thank you for writing in. They said loneliness is a literally the Surgeon General says an epidemic, so maybe that explains a lot. And the reason you don't feel that lonely is because you have us, Evie. They didn't have us. Okay, they're white. They don't listen to podcasts like this, and so they fell into a grift.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me, and maybe this is my hypothesis. Loneliness and anger, to an extent, go hand in hand. And so, just like it's epidemic of loneliness, it's an epidemic of people being violent, and people just having short patience and all that stuff. And that might, in my mind, have correlation with loneliness, because when people are lonely, they get sad. And what's sad, you talked about sad, you're sad is something that you're mad about, but you don't know how to, kind of express it. And those things are connected. So it would not be surprising if these numbers kind of correlated with each other in some, like a study would have to be done in some way, shape, form, or fashion to be like, hey dog, this loneliness is kind of increasing this violence, for some people, because guess what? People are lonely, they go online. So then next thing you know, they're hooked up with the 4chans and the 8chans and all these chans and all this stuff. And now they done went down another path that they probably may not have gone down if they were not lonely.
Gina Gates says, I was listening to NPR podcast about cozy games. I remember Karen was talking about them and was wondering if she could give a recommendation for a newbie. Thanks. Love the podcast as always.
And for cozy games, I find out it depends on what you like. So my best recommendation would be to go on to YouTube and type cozy game reviewers. There are tons of cozy game reviewers that cover all types of cozy games. There are cozy games for farming. There are cozy games for filming. For farming. There are cozy games for building. It all depends on what you're into. One of my favorite cozy games of all time is Stardew Valley. It's a great kind of introduction to cozy games. And once you kind of get into that, I've realized that you will branch off into other cozy games. I know they have like OG cozy games that are kind of older than that. But for me, that's a great one. And like I said, I did a cozy game playing, with cats. So, it varies into what you like and what you enjoy. And once you find your genre of cozy games, trust somebody is always coming out with something. Because like I said, I am the type of person, and everybody gets into different things. And on top of that, it took me a while to realize that I enjoy cozy games. Like, I play all types of games, but it took me a while to realize like cozy games is my jam. When I play games, I literally play games to tap out of reality. I want something that's not real, something that I can, spend hours on, particularly during the pandemic. Cozy games got me through the pandemic a lot.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be Stardew Valley. I could have answered that. I'll just throw one more out there, depending on what system you have. I don't know if you're just using a phone or whatever, but if you have a gaming system, Farm Together is a great one, and I enjoy it, and you can play it online with other people. The poll was, comments on YouTube. Let's check those out. Achievement unlocked. We got 4 comments. Foul Dies says, I just hate how DoorDash is getting away scot-free while the drivers and customers look at each other with a bad eye. By making that garbage statement they made, they acknowledge that they have no aim to improve any of it and want the driver and customer to battle it out. I want their profits to be cut in to compensate the drivers. We already pay a higher base price than the walk-in menu places, and minimum small order fees and service fees and delivery fees and tips. It's ridiculous already, and I hate how cold food is somehow in any way an acceptable response for someone opting for a tip amount that the delivery driver think is not right. Screw these companies. Jinxful replied, exactly, that's how corporate America works. All of us at the bottom end blaming and pointing our fingers at each other like Spider-Man meme. Meanwhile, the corporations have all the money. Now, to Rod's point, I'm still tipping if I'm doing delivery because I'm not trying to play with my food. I just calculate in the delivery fee in my mind ahead of time. Basically what I do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I just go pick it up too.
Yeah, and also it took me a while. I didn't realize that was a thing because you would go online and you'd be like, okay, these are their prices. Then you would, or like if you order through the app, you'd be like, oh, this is like 10% higher. Like, what is this?
Yep. I knew already, but it's also like a lot of times too, you can look around at different apps. You don't have to just use DoorDash, and other apps are preferred by businesses and by drivers.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So, DoorDash is convenient and all that stuff.
And they do the most pumping of commercials.
But there's a lot of, whether it be a Grubhub or a Toast Tab or, there's all these like, different ones that, a lot of times a restaurant will even, if you go to the physical location, they'll have the ones that they use. So
yeah, up on the counter a lot of times they'll be like, we prefer this, so use this instead.
But yeah, it says, but I do think it's kind of messed up how we have to tip before getting the service. What if I tip well and it's still cold when I get it? DoorDash might as well call it bribes at this point. Yeah, and also like sometimes it's cold because of the necessity of it. Like it could be cold outside. I know I've had food delivered in New York. It was fucking brick out there, and I was like, yeah, I might have to microwave this pizza when it get here. Right. That's okay.
Yes,
this motherfucker just rode across Manhattan in a bicycle. It's fine.
Zooming 35 miles an hour to get to me. It might be cold.
The cheese ain't gonna be all melting and shit. But Jinxful says, man, I found myself getting frustrated with Whoopi's comment, but shouts out to Karen for letting it all out for me. I came out of undergrad at the good white school I was supposed to go to and was making peanuts while student loans were asking me for pistachios. Side note rant, I'm going back to saying Gen Y because I'm tired of the term millennial. It almost feels derogatory at this point when I hear it. And folks keep using it when most of the time they're talking about Gen Z or younger, right? I'm much closer to 40 than I'm 30, and some millennials are already over 40. We being grown, we grown, being grown, and been known how the world works.
Right.
To Rod's point about the potential piece of validity of Wolfie's statement, I feel that. I do see a contingent of people who tend to take the work exploitation too far into the other direction and expect jobs are supposed to do everything they determine they need for them. Like one story y'all covered a while ago, that was something like one of the employees got fired because they repeatedly were coming in late. So their coworker quit in solidarity because they thought it was messed up. So when people see stories like that, I can understand the reaction, but I can't say that is most people, even in younger generations, because I don't have the numbers to back that up. Exactly. And I think outrageous content like that is shared because it's outrageous, right? I think it's whack. I think most of us watching that went, that's ridiculous. You can't be late to work every day and then act like, the job needs to adjust to my lateness. That there's a level of ridiculousness at some point that it should be confronted to, like, hey, our customers and everybody else need somebody here at the time you agreed to be here for the money we agreed to pay you.
Right.
That's to me, maybe people are trying to find the line to find content, but to me that one's ridiculous. But that's can't be representative of everybody. It's got to be a small percentage by necessity, or nothing would ever work.
Right, and most people need their jobs. Like for a lot of people, if they lose their second or third job, they can't make ends meet. Like, so most people are not quitting their jobs.
Mike Tom Willis writes in, premium is absolutely worth it. It's over hundreds of hours with top-notch content that don't miss. Thank you.
Thank you.
Better ad than we can do for it.
Yeah, hundreds, probably thousands of hours by now, because y'all, it's a lot behind that paywall.
Thousands.
We
I mean, you weren't wrong to say over hundreds, though. You weren't wrong.
Yes, I was just kind of letting people know, if you're, thinking about, doing that Black Friday, you're gonna open up, you're like, God damn, they've been working.
Will Tim Scott's girlfriend stay with him after the loss? Yes, for a little while. Yes, they'll get married, or no, the contract is up.
Contract is up.
87% of people agree with Karen on our website that the contract is up.
That wasn't real.
There will not be a re-upping of the contract. 84% agree, so it's almost the same on Spotify. Meanwhile, 5% of y'all think they get married. 8% on Spotify think they get married, and they're going to stay together for a little while. 8% think they're staying together for a little while on our site. 7% on Spotify. The Q&A, the roof is on fire because they tried to burn down that apartment, basically.
And yes, they did.
Valerie says we don't need no water. Let that burn. Alumni says, shh, don't tell the Republicans. Just slowly ease out the door and they won't notice. Let them return to the dust from which they came. Oh my. Raphael says we got droughts in North Carolina, Atlanta, volcanoes in Iceland. Zoom coats, it's a sign. Time for a new hustle before this timeline is wiped out. Gonna pray to God of scams for guidance. I'll save us. Ernest says, please exit the venue quickly and calmly. The proper authorities have been notified. Dio says the hair relaxer lawsuit commercials have begun in Texas and LA. A good one. I didn't even think of that. Might be about to get some class action up in here, because if the FDA saying this shit is bad for you, well, who been using it for all these years? Black people?
Yes, now that they've been using it on their children, something, depending on the age, like super young, they are, children like at 5 and 6, depending on the adults, they got relaxers smacked upside their heads.
Gonna be on the ad they're gonna have as many commercials as those Camp Lejeune commercials. You got some type of cancer? You ever been to Camp Lejeune? Don't get this money.
Child, you don't see them commercials. Just not for me. That's what you about to see.
That naked Florida man look like an elf version of Zoolander, says James. Alicia says, I bet they got them fireworks from that shop across the state line in Alabama. Anyways, was that a Felt 5 song you played after the banter segment? If so, what's the name? Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, because Roger just kind of picks them, y'all.
Yeah. I mean, Felt 5 has several flame ass tracks that we play on the reg.
Yes, go check them out.
Yeah, Black Capitalism, Fucking with Black People, the Coronavirus remix. I mean, just hit after hit after hit. Looks back and good, like
whole ass albums. Please go check them out.
Very talented. Put Felt 5 wherever you listen to music. Quee says Auntie Whoopi clearly missed that some millennials are in their 40s and the world has been on fire since we've been alive. That there's been an epidemic every 2 business days since crack and AIDS hit.
Not every 2 business days.
Sid says I'm really not ready for World War III. Is this just what it's like to be an adult? Is this true? Is this truly an unprecedented time? Because I don't want no more unprecedented nothing. Right. It's never good unprecedented shit, is it?
I don't know.
It's never bountiful. Like, man, it ain't never been this dope.
Unprecedented times.
Like, you live in unprecedented times, some shit is happening.
Yes, it is. Some
Not
shit
the good
we ain't
kind.
never dealt with before, or if we dealt with it before, it was hundreds, possibly thousands of years ago.
All right. We got one more episode. Let me play a little bit of music though, so that I can put a commercial here at some point later. And why am I not finding? Oh, there we go. Here we All right. One last episode. Okay, Boomer, episode 2804. Mary says, wow, this was wild. I'm 56 years old and been listening since 2016. And when I heard her email, I was like, what show is she talking about? The only time I ever felt talked down to is when you denigrate the Sugar Grits people. But I never felt like you dealt in ageism. Anyway, I do feel bad for Julie, as it sounds like she's really going through it. But still not a reason to vomit all that stuff on you all. Keep up the good work, young folk.
Thank you.
Sean says, in Rod's defense, Sugar Grits are an atrocity that are likely a violation of the Geneva Convention. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's like, if y'all want to listen to a show where they like, maybe Nazis made some good points, then go find that show. But I'm never going to side.
Hell wrong with you?
I'm never going to side with the Sugar Grits people. Okay? They are the Nazis of grits eating, and there will be no quarter given. Okay? Y'all knew what was happening when y'all tried to listen to this show. What, y'all thought I didn't have any level of discernment? Nice try. This is from, I don't know this from, I copy pasted from an email. Rod and crew, you discuss early voting for elections in your local areas, and it's important because we live in unincorporated Cobb County, Georgia, which just turned blue in 2020. All the elections are for different cities within the county and not in general. My wife keeps asking if we should be voting, and I have to remind her that because we are not part of a city, there's nothing for us to vote for on the ballot if they even give us a ballot. Also, not long ago, my wife and I attended a town hall meeting by a chairperson of the Cobb County Commission, a Black woman, to hear her speak on the status of the county and answer Q&As. But let me tell you, MAGA whites never fail to disappoint. Chef's kiss. This white man came to the mic to ask a Black woman what the county is going to do to stop this undertone trend of urbanization of the county. He wanted Cobb to stay Cobb and not become Atlanta, and that he moved to Cobb in 1986 because it was not Atlanta. Mr. White Flight and shit.
Right.
Well, she took a deep breath and asked the heading of the zoning committee, when did Cobb see his biggest explosion of residents? He told her it was in 1985, 1987 timeframe. She looks back at Mr. Maga and tells him he is the reason Cobb is growing so fast and becoming urbanized. You move here and want the same conveniences you had in Atlanta.
Right.
You increased all the neighborhoods being built and all the traffic on the roads. Nowhere in Metro Atlanta will not be the same because more and more people are moving to Metro Atlanta and moving further out for affordable housing and clogging up the roads with traffic. He sat back down and guess he didn't get his gotcha moment. Love the show as always. Thank you.
That's very smart.
EVE says, I've been a long time listener and have supported this show. I usually agree with most everything you say, but the slander against Arby's is insane. Do you expect us Arby's lovers to just drop dead? They have the meats. That's what y'all gonna drop dead from.
From all the meats.
The meats. Avia says, you said nothing bad about older people. When generations are fighting each other, the super rich who are getting richer every year are winning. No one is looking at them. Trump is over 70. Do we have to be nice to him now because he's older too? Yeah, I mean, look, Whoopi was just wrong. I don't agree with what she said. I didn't think we were mean. This episode may seem just like mean and petty, but I don't think we were being mean. It was annoying, so it might have got, to a point where it's upsetting to have anyone, but especially like a fan that's been listening for a while, that, like to just I mean, I can't think of another way to say it other than lie, because we just didn't say it. And going back to play the stuff to show like we didn't say that, to me was kind of needed,
Right.
Katrina says Julie was definition of being triggered. She went off on y'all about the disappointment of her life and couldn't see how much she had in common with the plight of millennials. Low key, I think as a boomer, she's ashamed to even share financial plight with millennials. Yeah, it could be, man. I know the stuff she talked about, taking care of her parents, working all those hours at her age. I mean, like I said, I know it's easy to just, you said something about us that we didn't say, and then all of a sudden we're just yelling and saying fuck you and stuff. And look, a lot of podcasts would have absolutely just did that or sent some snarky reply back. But I feel empathy for her, because that's tough. And
yes, it is.
All of us are getting older, if God willing, and if you get to a certain age, you're gonna have to go through some of this shit. You might be taking care of a parent. You might be working longer than you expected to work. You might lose shit due to whatever things that happen in the world, all these catastrophes and stuff. So like, I don't know, there's a level of empathy I feel for her. There's a level of empathy I feel for even rich ass Whoopi Goldberg when she be talking like that. Because the thing, we talk up a lot of shit to money, but you ain't gotta have money to think like Whoopi thinks.
Right.
That like, hey, this is really about how this generation doesn't work hard. There's a lot of people that aren't rich that think that about the generations younger than them.
Agreed.
But yeah, anyway, I was a fan. A friend had DM me to be like, man, y'all was going off, and I mean, we was going off, and it was like, you was so mad, and I was like, man, I actually hate to hear that, even if it's true, because I didn't get on the mic with the goal of like, I'm gonna get mad at this woman, because that was not my goal. But it is angering anytime we do this show, and we do it with so much context and so much discussion and nuance. Anytime somebody says basically, fuck everything you said, I took it this way, it can make you upset.
Yeah, and the thing is, particularly when it is things that we did not say. That's the thing. If we said and it was in context and you disagree, like I say, this is a feedback show. Most people that listen to this show know we don't mind. Like, we don't mind. People write up here all the time and be like, well, I disagree with you, and this is the way I look at it, and this is the way I view. People write and disagree with us a lot. But it's one of those things between that and you saying you said things that you did not say, like that, for people who, like, for us talk for a living, and we got actual recordings of what we actually said. It's ain't no he says, she says things. We actually can go back and play the words that came out of our mouths. We like, no, that is not true. And that's the part that's anger inducing. You heard what you wanted to hear and not actually what we said. It's okay to hear what we said and disagree. Completely understand that. But it's different between you hearing something and you making a reality that's not the reality that actually happened that time.
Yeah. And even if we make shit look easy, I know as far as the person that coordinates the show and the topics, I'm very thoughtful.
Yes.
And so even stuff that you think, like, there's stuff that some of y'all just think, oh, he just doesn't make that kind of joke, or he doesn't think that's funny. It's like, no, I made a choice not to make that joke. I made a choice to not bring up certain topics on our show. It's important to me. And one of those things is ageism. And I'm not like a huge, like, I'm not trying to I wouldn't be making this point if it wasn't for this episode. Mm-hmm. But we don't really participate in that. Like, and I'm not saying there's nothing funny. I want to get old. It's definitely funny getting older. Yes. Laugh at everything in life. Even if you get cancer, there's something funny about that shit. But this idea of like, we're one of these shows that, think old people should just go and die and shit. We're not. And I know there's a lot of podcasts that actually are like that.
Yes, sir.
Especially political podcasts on the left. Yes. Like, and it's one of the things I vehemently disagree with a lot of left people about. Their whole thing is like, you supposed to just get old, stop caring, and go die. And at the end of the day, it's like, if I'm still breathing and I can do the job, I'm gonna fucking try to do it. And if you don't want me to, beat me.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Beat me. This whole like activists got to get old and retire. Who says?
Right.
What? I don't care about black people no more because I turned 70. No, I do care, and I will continue working as long as I can help them. And if you don't like the way I do my thing, you are welcome to start your thing because can't nobody stop you. And often it's a substitute for the fact that these older folks put in the time and the effort and the work, and they don't just fold. And I watch too many young people come up, especially in the last 10 years, but specifically after Mike Brown, I watched a lot of activists slide their ass right back home. And I'm not saying they don't have a right to do it,
right?
But they talked a lot of shit about every other activist
they did.
that is still in the game and was in the game before them on their way up and down. So you've been back at the crib for a minute now, but I'm supposed to be mad at Al Sharpton or somebody. Like, nah, man, just get in where you fit in and all that stuff. But I'm not part of the push the old people out crowd, so I don't even fuck with that.
And I'm not either. And also the thing that bothers me, particularly for a lot of people on the left, is people pick and choose on who they consider who's too old. Like I think that's what killed me too, because y'all, a lot of them bash Joe Biden, but you got motherfucking Bernie, and you got all these other niggas that be out there. I've never heard people come out and say Bernie's too old to goddamn run. Like,
also, it's like
they hammer that shit.
The thing for me is that it becomes a substitute for I don't want to try.
Right.
And that's what bothers me in these cases, because there are mechanisms to get what you want right there. But if your whole thing is, I just think even though you won your office fair and square, Nancy Pelosi, you need to just step down. Well, nigga, I stepped down when I feel like it.
Right.
I won and the people voted for me and they wanted me to do this job. You had a chance to run. You had a chance to bridge coalitions and galvanize the will of the people. You stayed home, or you typed on Twitter, or you did whatever, but you didn't beat your feet and meet everybody at their doorstep. So now look at you. I'm supposed to just give it to you? No, because at the end of the day, when it's time to fight for these rights, you know who else is never going to give you shit? The Republicans.
Right.
They never going to be like, well, I guess out of shame, I should step aside. So I need some fighters in there. And if a fighter is 80, then that's a motherfucking fighter I'm rolling with. If that's because they the one that's fighting the hardest.
Right. And the thing is, for a lot of these people, when Republicans take shit, they don't give shit back. What about that don't people understand? When they take shit, they got a motherfucking goddamn death grip on it, and they will not take it back. So while you doing this bullshit and not fucking fighting, if somebody's 80 and 90 is goddamn fighting, I am pushing their back and saying, go bitch, go, and looking at and stepping right over your ass and being like, well, fuck you, you're not fighting. You're rolling over, you're rolling over and saying, I'm not doing shit, looking at the system like the system is broken. When you don't want to participate in the system, get the fuck out of my face.
All right. The comments on the YouTube. Dr. Nam says Rod and Karen have been consistent on things they say on certain topics. Ageism is one of them. I call into question her saying that she's been a regular listener for 10 years and is a supporter. Obviously not if you got offended by something they didn't say. Are you really listening, ma'am? Well, I mean, she's a real person, real supporter. Like, I don't doubt that from Julie. We all have off days. Right. Like I said, this has happened before with the show where it seemed like everything was cool with a person. They love us. They love our jokes. They love our show. And literally it can be one thing. And then they decide, not saying this is what Julie did, just saying this is what other people have done.
Right.
They decide we're literally horrible, scum of the earth people that were never whatever the fuck. And we've always been terrible. And honestly, like, that's just the hazard of doing this job. And people are going to do that. And, I guarantee you those people are in their own lives dealing with whatever the fuck they dealing with. Like, it's never just us anyway. Another person says, it looks like Bait to Carlton, maybe. R&K, how art thou both? I have missed you guys. Sound like Julie need to find solace. With the last name like Goldberg, I wondered about her anti-Semitism. I don't even. What's her last name? Goldberg? I don't remember that.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I must have missed some things. J4 says these receipts are longer than CVS. Mel says, I enjoy petty the blackout tips. Do you know how many times I listen to Ain't No Fun When the Rabbit Got the Gun? Premium people know. Yeah, it's been a while, literally years, and I try not to be in that mode, to be honest. And I really didn't think we went too far, but it's all in response to what people do. I we've had people do some wild shit, and let's just say I did some wild shit back, because fuck that. But if it's just somebody disagreeing with our opinion, that's fine. Just keep it facts, that's all. So Karen listening to the clip and nodding in agreement like she's never heard it before. She like, this motherfucker spitting, says Jay Full. My mom says, excellent response to Julie's email. The factual recorded response to Julie's chef kiss. I would like to give Julie a hug. Love, peace, and blessing and kindness to Julie. Exactly, man.
Yeah,
like,
I have compassion.
I don't have no anger towards Julie. I know we don't know her, and she,
right.
It's always sucks when the first time you hear from somebody is like something they're gonna say that is negative or something, and it's not their fault, but it's just, I'm a human. I'm gonna remember this, our first interaction, forever, and it starts on a bad note, but I don't know, it felt like she was going through a lot of stuff and in some levels of pain dealing with that stuff, and just maybe took it out on us, or took it out on this idea of us that is not what we said.
Right.
Let's see. Polls. Were we too mean to older generations on our last podcast? 98% of people say no. 2% say yes. Maybe that's Julie.
You never know, right?
I don't know who the 2% is, but I mean, I think if 98% of people are saying one thing, maybe think about your position. And it's the same percentage on Spotify, which I'll take. If 2% of y'all just can't take it, that's cool. I don't think we were that mean. And I think, honestly, being in response to the Whoopi Goldberg shit, you would be expecting us essentially to say, it's okay to say what Whoopi said, and we should say nothing back because she's older.
And it's not.
And you'll never get that from me. And let's see, Q&A was your feelings don't determine our facts.
That's a true statement, and I will forever believe in that. It took me getting older and going through things and being gaslit over the years and being love bombed and all these other things, and just and just fucking up my reality, that now I know what my reality is, and I hold on to it with my dear life. You will not alter it. You will not change it. You will not make me feel like my reality is not mine, because you have created a different timeline and a different reality than me. I will not participate in your shenanigans.
Yeah, just having dealt with people in my real life that have done this level of like gaslighting, or, like basically inferring shit that I never said. That's enough for me to be like, let's get the receipts, because I pride myself on the fact that I'm straight up and honest with folks, and I try not to be mean about it, but just be flat-footed honest. And so when someone tries to say I said something or make something up, it's gonna always bother me, because I'm like, now if I felt that way, I just say it.
Right.
Like, I'm not afraid of you. If I had those feelings about older folks and I believe that shit, I would just say it, because who gonna check me? But the point is, I go out of my way to not be like that. So let's look at these receipts. But yeah, we got replies. I'm 58. I've never heard you speak on ageism. I don't blame you for taking up for yourselves, because that criticism was undeserved. Love you guys. Thank you, Digel. M. Nicole says, not at all. Portia says, yeah, she was deep in her bag of delusions, because none of that was what she accused y'all of actually happened. Jane says, you can thank the trash ass 80s Reagan era for creating this economic wage gap between generations. It's so easy for Whoopi to make those generalizations when she's in her privileged position. Typhlosion says, I really like when y'all said everything you don't like about the next generation is your fault. 5 stars.
Because you're the generation that raised them.
Myra says, great response. Seemed like Julie was projected and heard what she wanted to hear. She's struggling, so therefore millennials should too. But newsflash, we all out here struggling. Wishing Julie the best. Bokai says, as a millennial, the only mentality I'm against is I went through it, so you should too. Right. People who lean into their culture argument often ignore inflations or to an insulting degree. Cheyenne says, I'm Gen Z and my feelings are everything when it comes to choosing a job. Sad to hear people put words in y'all's mouth. Rod is right and Karen be knowing. Raphael says, just when I was trying to work in a new scam, someone that messed the whole mood up now. Guess I'll try next week, or I could call and attempt my own complaint and get a whole episode dedicated to me. Yes. Julie says, feeling and opinions have nothing to do with facts. Facts are fixed and not flexible. This is why people hate facts. Carrie says, facts over feelings, always, hopefully forever. Phoebe says, I'm 62, a late boomer, early Gen X. I haven't heard you say anything ageist at all. We are all just trying to muddle through. We're all in this together except for the 1%. They can go fuck themselves. Alicia says, I think Julie was already on the edge from talking to other people and took it out on y'all because there ain't no way she been a listener for 10 years and heard, quote unquote, what she heard. Molly says, funny how boomers benefited from the policies of the previous generation, such as Medicaid, Civil Rights Act, and EOA, but the reverse of those policies had no impact on millennials? Right.
Mm-hmm. And you're also talking to, depending on your age, a certain generation. And in some cities and counties and municipalities, school used to be free in some places. Like you literally could go to school, get a full ass degree, and it was free. Like, you didn't have to
in
pay.
College.
Mm-hmm. And yep, college used to be free.
Okay.
Years ago, and because they kind of talked about this, and they were saying back to Reagan.
Who was they?
I was at the NPR, and they was talking about the policies and why the cost of school has gone up. And particularly in California, and particularly during the Vietnam, they said a lot of college students had the time to protest and all that shit too, and go out here and be angry about the wars. So they basically decided to start charging for school and shit like that to strap people down with debt, so that people would not have the time to actually be out here protesting and shit like after they got out of school and things like that. And so they was like, hey, we're gonna start charging people for school so they can't, put like almost like a barrier. So you can't come here and spend your time and protest and fuss about shit, because college students have all this free time on their hands that normally adults that go to a 9 to 5 don't have. So, particularly in California, I don't know about the rest of the states, they actually passed a law where they started like charging, because it used to be absolutely positively free, but that's where they came in because the states used to cover it, And so you talk about a generation who went to college, doctors, lawyers, and shit like this, who didn't have to pay a fucking dime, or if they did, it was very low. Turning around and looking at somebody, that's what I was talking about before, who has like $500,000, $600,000, close to $1 million in debt. Talk about what's wrong with you.
So we don't know that Whoopi did that, but or like Julie or whatever. But yes, it's like that's the whole problem with macro versus micro. Because what happens. Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that, because what that means, and I think what I see happening when it's your generation, it becomes micro. By which I mean, I did this. I went through this hardship. I had to deal with blank. When it becomes another generation, it gets the macro. Y'all are benefiting from this. You don't want to work hard. You don't. It's so like, I think that's why you'll always end up losing out on the perspective, because if you micro these young kids and ask them about their problems, they got real problems.
Yes, they do.
And I keep saying young kids, but millennials are like my brother. Right. Like 3 years younger than me. That's not this crazy like young people thing. So Sid says, Jeff says, very disturbing, a bit frightening. How much that person completely read something else into what you guys are saying. She has issues and needs help, if you ask me. She could just be going through some shit, man. It happened, dog. It happened. Sydney says she did way too much. I really hope she hears the play-by-play, but also the play-by-play petty is truly unmatched. Queen says Julie and Whoopi wilding as a millennial. The world has been on fire since we got here. Crack, AIDS, Desert Storm, 9/11, Afghanistan war, climate change, 45 as POTUS, Great Recession, etc. Give us a break. And an angry emoji. All right, that's everything for the comments on the episode. We still have more segments to go. We got, of course, doing it for the gram. For the gram, 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 for the gram. All right, doing it for the gram. I'm trying to keep these related to the show.
Okay.
Because it's whatever we talked about that week. And this week was, what achievement would you love to unlock in your life?
Come on through. I know this was good,
And
Chad.
we had achievement unlocked with a little graphic, me stepping on Karen's head as we go into a pipe, Super Mario pipe. I don't know why my Bitmoji looks so happy, but he must have been having the time of his life.
Apparently so. Stepping on a woman.
One of them Puff Daddy Bitmojis.
Right.
I didn't have a choice, guys. I couldn't switch us out. Terry says, I just want to finish this master's degree. Ms. Barnes says the relationship achievement, the I found my partner that I love achievement. Okay, I'll see you, sis. Speak it. More Olivia says, same, Ms. Barnes, same. Okay. Captain Ingenuity says marriage again, but this time healthy and happy. Well, look at the people above. Try to reply. Cat Style says the weekend vacation home level. Yes, that's the hardest one to achieve.
Chad, that's extra rare.
El Belange says, I would love to learn to drive. I wasn't allowed to in my younger years due to epilepsy. So I missed the young adult window of learning. I've been seizure free for years, but it remains on my when I have time list. Imagine the places I would go if I had wheels. It's exciting, but my need for downtime between hectic schedules supersedes my desire to drive. My city public transport system is a joke, but luckily I can walk to most spots I need to be.
Yeah, and you're never too old.
Yep.
To learn how to drive. My mama, she's not driving right now, but prior to her stopped driving, a friend of hers, an older lady, was driving, and she was like really scared. And so my mama basically was like, hey, we're going to get you out here driving because you actually become a new driver, even though you're not quote unquote 18. It's just the experience with driving. And I love to drive. I don't drive now because I make Roger, but overall, like if I wanted to go out and do something on my own, I actually enjoy doing it.
I mean, you drove to get your massage. You drive?
Yes. And so it's one of these things, particularly.
You just wanted to show the world that you can make me drive. That's all.
I want to flex on y'all. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I do apologize. I think that for a lot of people, particularly if you live in the cities where it's not required, I could see you being like, it's not that important, but places like here, you actually have to know how to drive. And it's a generational thing because they're a younger generation now. A lot of them don't have a desire to drive. Like they talked about that. They talked about how you have a lot of younger people that go, I'll just Uber everywhere and shit. Well, like also,
you don't have to know how to drive here. We have great public transportation in Charlotte. You can catch a bus. You can get now there's some rural places you really have to drive. Like, yes. Just it ain't a choice, but there's a lot of cities, major cities like a Cleveland or something like that.
It'd take a while to get there, but yes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's slower than driving yourself, but it can be done, and it's not that inconvenient compared to like if you out in, I don't know, Rockingham or some shit. It's
I agree with you. Yes, because there's some cities that don't have public transportation at all, so I'm with you on that one.
Healthy marriage and children, says Isorar. Feeding these damn kids 3 times daily because really this feels excessive. Right? That's what I be saying to Karen, like, damn, you gotta eat every day?
Yes,
every day. My God, I gotta cook multiple times? What's happening? Blue Diddy says 0 debt. S. Jones 2 says camping in the Alaskan wilderness. Oh, now that sounds like an actual video game achievement a lot.
Child, yes.
Mimi 1KO Sunshine says, I cleaned before a trip so I could come home to a clean house. That is an achievement a lot. J. Del Negro says having some of my art hanging in a museum. I hope you get that. Flicks. What if I say that? I click on this page, all the art is like swastikas and shit. I'm assuming you make dope art, Jay. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you that. Flicks Chicky said Flixie Chick. Flicks Chicky. Oh, that's how you say it. Flicks Chicky says owning a dope little house achievement, and I guess paying off my college debt. But maybe Biden will take care of that for you. More Olivia says owning my own place or property somewhere, anywhere. Be careful which one. Danica says I would like to publish one of my poems in a real lit mag. I hope you get that, Danica.
I'm looking for that achievement.
Shout out to all these. This turned into affirmation tape. Layla says hitting the gym 4 times a week. Oh, listen, it's easy. Drive to the gym, punch that thing in the wall, go back home. Mary says enough money for a ponytail facelift at 60. I don't even know what that is.
I don't
but
even know
I know
what-
Mary live on the West Coast, so it's a whole different type of pressure with the
Yeah.
face and the skin
I
situation.
don't even know what that is, baby.
Yeah, we don't have that in Charlotte.
Mm-mm.
I'm not saying we don't have plastic surgery, but the
But-
pressure
Yeah.
of even thinking about facelifts at 60, it's not here.
Yeah, I know what a ponytail is, but I don't know what the ponytail facelifts. New shit.
Soul Substance says, have some dang money and start my yoga meditation in the mornings. Also journaling every day. Miss Christabel says, the 7 figures achievement. I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow, when I want to, says, conquer my fears of flying bridges and little people. Well, 2 of those sounded more reasonable than the other. One was like a type of person, which I'm like, I don't know about. I mean, I hope you do accomplish getting over that fear, because that's very irrational. Most J's rode in a sitting, says Bokai. Well, that sounds like Guinness Book of Records type of thing.
Yes.
Osipa says, I would love to be on somebody's tour retainer as that personal massage therapist. Chief Steve says, just want my daughter to grow up and talk about me like Rod talks about his pop, trying to raise a daughter. Eve says, winning the lottery. That's definitely a hard achievement. People can fly that they want that. Glam Babies 88 says, passing my medical coding exam, buying my first home for my family and marriage/life partner. Les Miserables says, a consistent professional acting career or a rescue pet ranch. I like the versatility. Why not
Come
both?
on.
Why not both?
Why not both? You can do it all. We believe in you.
Having a job that I really enjoy, 1 million miles traveled, safety and security for my child when she becomes an adult. Can that be one? Hard mode without being a billionaire? No, that can't really be one, but sure. I wanted you to pick one achievement you can unlock for yourself. I don't think you can achieve that. That's just like life.
Right?
Not even billionaires can achieve that. Getting out of bed after the first alarm. Ooh, good luck.
Child, that's mine. That is literally mine.
Okay, you know what, Karen? I'm gonna help you with that achievement.
No, thank you.
No, I'm gonna help you. No, I'm glad you brought it up. That's yours.
No, thank you.
Oh, so now you lying. So it's not yours. You don't want to unlock it.
No, on my own. Like.
No, I want to help you.
No.
Our goals are to help each other.
No, you said personal achievement. You didn't say a group effort achievement. That's completely different.
No, it said what achievement would you love to unlock in your life? It didn't say personal or not group. The group we here for each other, Karen.
Nope,
This is what partnership is.
We
A
are
financially stable achievement will come in clutch right now. Short term, I'm putting a turkey on the smoker for Thanksgiving, so I'm shooting for the didn't fuck up the turkey achievement. That's a good one. So that's a tough one. And
that's a rare one.
Lastly, paying off my credit cards. Girl, you, me, same. All right, that's it for doing it for the gram. Let's get into some of these voicemails. All right, there's a lot of these. We may in the future have to switch it to you just get one, because some people call back, and if it's gonna be 8 people calling, then basically, even if 8 people called and only left one, that still would be 16 minutes of the show. So we may have to reduce it to just you can only get one try at this. But let's start with the first one from our girl Sierra.
Rod, Karen, Rod, this is Sierra. I love Trap King, bitch with many jobs. I'm on my way to work now. You want me to do an assessment. You need to figure out what it's at. I just got finished. Long time listener, long time, love it. Live how you say long time. But I don't know how the sports qualities on it, but I hope you'll still hear me. But I wanted to say I just finished my second listen of the Draco-Maniac episode, the last one, about Ida B. Wells, or me and Rod like to call it Ida B. Wells. And all right, I'm weird. Parasocial relationship jumping out. I almost cried because I remember Rod reading that book, purchasing that book, finishing that book. Ida B. Wells is one of my lines. And I remember him talking about this book so much that I was like, I gotta bring it to my son. I'm like your mama. Oh, you got some time off? You can read. I'm that mama. He's like, Mom, it's racist my side. Read. So I remember you talking about this book and saying like, yo, this shit should be a movie. This shit should be a docuseries. Like, her life was wild. Like, and you got me interested in how she was like beefing like with people and fuck Susan B. Anthony all day. Like, oh my mama, her great grandchildren can get it. To fully listen to you.
You got cut off. Going to the next one.
My bad. I said I was only gonna call and leave one voicemail, but then I was meant to be emotional. You bring them back. Yes, I voted yesterday. Sidebar. I voted yesterday. Democrat. Phil Hernandez and Angelia Johnson. Oh, my Angelia was actually in my voting space. Shout out to her. I shook her hand and everything. I said, thank you for allowing me to get abortion. Because abortion. But anyway, embarrassed all about my mama. But anyway, talk ADD. Yo, listening to Draco Maniacs, the story of Ida B. Wells, Ride, listening to A Dream Realize, A Thought Realize. I don't even know if you fucking remember saying that on the podcast because y'all have a million fucking episodes. When you was like, yo, her fucking story need to be a docuseries, need to be a movie because she was a gangster. And you portrayed Ida B. Wells so fucking bad. So amazing. Bad meaning good because I'm black. This shit was so crazy. I got emotional because I'm like, yo, you said you wanted to do something about the story of Ida B. Wells and you did it. Then you got your wife. Nepotism. Steering and ride, saying what's around. We got something in the water. With a boot. A B-man with a VIP badge. It's a fucking crime. Like, I know how much that meant to you, Rob. You did your fucking thing. Karen, you did your big one. No crumbs. You couldn't listen to it again because the shit was fire. I'm letting my son.
She called back. This is the last one.
Just had to say that. And I'm going to let my son listen to all these bitches. And I'm about to suggest it in his history class. Because I'm, you know, I got it in with his teachers because I be on their ass like right. He is a black man in Virginia, so I ain't got the fucking time. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm going to be suggesting this to his teachers and his virtual homeschool. Yo, you just tapped into a new view of history, a new way of teaching our history, bro. Definitely fitting the cement to some Black History Month and the parent teacher meetings for the gifted kids, bro. I'm so proud of y'all. Like, I don't even fucking know y'all, but I know y'all. So fucking proud. And you got me testing on Michael Harriet. I just read this article for the Griot about how to be black and support Palestine without looking crazy. That's not the title of it, but you know I'm black. That's where that's the gist.
I saw it.
All right. I fucking love y'all. I'm so fucking proud of you, Rod. That fucking no. Karen, big one. Daddy. All right, I'm gonna start talking now.
Thank you.
Thank you, baby.
Only thing I want to clarify, I didn't write the Ida B. Wells one. I was in on the like pitch meeting and all that stuff. I pitched my ideas with it. But like Michael also loves Ida B. Wells. Like I during that meeting, I remember like that was one of the things we were able to like really see eye to eye on was like, okay, we both love her. And that rap battle thing, that was his idea from the jump. Like that was one of the ones where like when they were pitching stuff at the beginning, some of them it was like everybody do their research, come back and pitch what you would do. But that one felt like Michael had a really strong idea of what he wanted to do with it. So the rap battle thing was all him. That was very tough to write. 4 different people wrote scripts for that. I didn't write any scripts for the Ida B. Wells one. I had written, by that point I had written so many, I don't even think I don't even know if I had it in me to write another script. But I liked the scripts. Like even when they had 4 of them, I like it was funny because they would be like, well, what do you think we should change? I'm like, I don't know, it's just kind of dope to me. But that's just my opinion. Other people have different stuff they contribute. And I think by the time it was done, it was in a really good place. And then of course, we've already given you the details of how we recorded Karen's part and stuff. So I won't harp on that too much just to save time. But thank you. And yeah, it made me feel great to be part of that, period. Just because I love Ida B. Wells, and I felt like, yeah, she need her own everything, movie, everything. All right, next one's from Tanisha from BK, Brooklyn.
Good morning, Rod and Karen. This is Tanisha G in Brooklyn. It is well, I only have my glasses on. I can't even tell what time it is. It's early, and I was calling because I wanted to give y'all a review of Drapes and Maniacs. I heard the other day, I'm behind on my shows. I'm going to say that right now because life is lifing right now. But I am a bit behind, but I did listen to the most recent feedback show, and y'all were talking about Drapes and Maniacs, and I was like, you know what? Let me tell them about that show. That show has been so fantastic, and the reason why I say that is because I bought a book called 1001 African American Facts. No, it's like 1001 Facts Every African American Should Know. And I bought it to read to my son because I was like, I need you to learn about our history, and I need you to learn about our history in ways that you're not going to learn in school. Now, he's Alpha Gen, so, they got an attention span of like 3 seconds. So we didn't even get like a quarter through the book. He wasn't feeling it. But he heard me listening to an episode of Drapes and Maniacs one day, and he was like, we got all the way to the end of it, and he was like, Mama, can we do another one? And I was like, yes. And we ended up binging like 4 or 5 of them in a row. And then it was like, the thing about it is that he loves that show. And the fact that my child is very particular. The fact that he loved that show and he loved how engaging it was, it pulled him in so quickly. Right. It had the history. It had the comedy. It had the music. You could see and listen, like you could visually see it as you're listening, the stories being told, and it was so engaging. And oh damn, I think I'm running out of time. Hold on, let me call back. Whew.
And she did call back.
Hey Rod and Karen, it's Tanisha G again. Let me wrap this on up. So what I was saying was the thing about Drapes and Maniacs that I really love is that it's giving you that history, that often unknown history that you're not going to just find anywhere.
Right.
And I think that what's so essential about it is the amazing artistry and the comedy that goes into it, because comedy really has gotten Black ass people through this life here on Earth. It has been, for me personally in my life, it has got me through so many things, and it allows you to see how resilient we are, how amazing we are, how important we are. That show is everything. So I didn't even know they had podcast awards, but for sure, y'all need to get y'all flowers, because that show, I can't wait to listen to the last episode today. It's amazing. So all I'm saying is thank you for the recommendation. Y'all always got a good recommendation, because y'all don't just be putting your names everywhere and doing everything. So thank you. It's an amazing show, and I hope you get a second season. Wish you the best. I'm going to try to listen today. Take care. Bye.
Oh, man, that is so nice. Thank you. And that's honestly, man, like that's exactly the kind of thing I was hoping for. To know that there's, a Black kid out there that may not have been reached by other means of trying to relay our history. And the thing we did was a thing that worked is so wonderful, because I feel like, at least to me, the people working on this project, we try to create something that we wish was there when we was, in our formative years and stuff. And y'all already know I'm a huge Black history nerd and all that stuff. So, I've always kind of dislike this idea that like we just should stop making these movies and stories and TV shows because some people might feel bad and stuff. And I've always said, man, if you put it in our hands, we'll put in the right hands. It's the stories of heroes, and they're aspirational, but they're fun and they're human and they're relatable. And the work that the team did, man, is a lot of work went into that stuff, and it's very, very hard to make, which is why I think you don't see necessarily the best versions of it all the time, or why it's just very hard to make. And we didn't necessarily have the things that other people that are going to win podcast awards and get nominated for have. Like, we didn't necessarily have the gigantic money backing and promotion and everything that you see other places. We, once again, as Black people, had to make shit work with our own ingenuity. So, man, it made me emotional hearing that, but thank you, because that's exactly what I was hoping would happen.
Yeah, and I am your baby is me and me is your baby, because it's one of those things to where for me, as somebody who some of these people I knew, but majority of these people I can speak for myself, I never heard of before in my life. And so for me, just the way, like you said, it grabs you. The music, the talking is Black. They don't try to sugarcoat nothing. They hit you with facts. And at the end, you have learned a lot of information in a very short period of time, and informations that are facts. And so it's like really neat, because it kind of causes you to be like, you know what, let me go read some other shit about this person that I may not have known. I can speak for me personally, where if you kind of bombard me with like you said, with the books and things, I will read them, but for some people it's kind of a turnoff. This is it's almost like you, whatever it takes to get them there, be it reading to the podcast to the reading, whatever it takes to make this shit link, do it.
Next one's from Miss Barnes.
Hello, Rod and Karen. This is Miss Barnes. I want to apologize. I sound a little under the weather. I got sinus stuff going on, and I'm also late. I'm always late. But I wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for recapping The Walking Dead for us. I remember in 2018, whenever it was first suggested to me to start listening to y'all, and I was going through the list, and I'm like, I don't know where to start, but it caught my eye that y'all recapped The Walking Dead. And so I was like, oh my God, yes. And then when I started listening, and I'm like, these are the recaps that I have needed for The Walking Dead. So that was 2018 when I first started listening to the recaps, all the way to 2023, whenever you just finished on November the 1st. I want to say again, thank you so very much. And yeah, that was me that sent the news article. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it, though. It was just a perfect thank you gift for giving us such wonderful insight into a show that I love quite dearly. So again, thank you so very much.
Have another voicemail.
Have a good day.
Oh, thank you, baby. I was messing with you, giving you a hard time, but yeah, I appreciate y'all for being like, please do, and we appreciated it. We were like, yes, this is why we do it, because we actually love the show too.
She left another voicemail after that.
Mm-hmm. Hello again, Rod and Karen. This is Miss Barnes. Speaking of being late, I also wanted to say thank you so much for having Fantastic Frankie on the podcast, because I started following her, and she has absolutely done the most wonderful review of the final episode of Attack on Titan. And it's like, I already love her IG. She is hysterical and she is very spot on, but she was really, truly on the point with her reviews and final takes, or final, I can't think, it's the medicine. I'm medicine drunk right now. Her review of the final episode of Attack on Titan. But at some point, I would love to know what y'all think about it. And is it going to be exclusively on the Nerd Off, or is this going to be something that is part of the banter? We don't know. But I'm just wondering, if that be the case, I need to make sure that I keep an eye out for it. I need to know what y'all thought about that final episode. So anyway, again, have a lovely day and stay safe out here. Take
Yo,
care.
we still waiting on the dub, but yeah, I'm sure it'll come up somewhere, whether it be Nerd Off or banter. But
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
for
when
sure.
they do that dub, we been checking. We like, come
Yeah.
on.
Next voicemail.
Hello, Rod and Karen. This is Angie, the Undeniable Vixen. I just wanted to leave a quick message to Roderick Morrow. Listen, when the Queen is speaking, you have to be in silence, especially when she is going into her smooth comedic styling. You don't know where Karen might go. And being a part of the Texas Comedy Troop Team for Karen Morrow, we stand all the time. Not sometimes, but all the time. She has been an ongoing comedic chair phenom. And when she's going into her banter, she's not going to be able to tell you everything. You got to wait for the ride with the rest of us. You got to be on the ride with the rest of us. She's gonna land the plane, and we're gonna all clap when the plane lands. Remember.
All right, sounds like a plan.
That's hilarious.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, baby. That's hilarious.
I'll try to be more careful in the future. Next voicemail.
Hey, Rod. Hey, Karen. This is Kiana. Super quick. I just want to hit on two things really quickly. Everything y'all said about Keke Palmer, I agree 100%. And I just wanted to add two more things to the conversation that's been pretty useful. Another reason why it takes people so long to leave abusive relationships is it very well may take you a long time to realize that you're being abused.
Right.
I'm somebody who was in a violent abusive relationship. A lot of what happened in that relationship mimicked behavior that I had grown up with and was used to. It took me a very long time to realize that I was in a relationship that was abusive. That can make it very complicated when you're ready to leave or you're contemplating leaving. Rod, you mentioned how we sort of glorify giving second chances. Yes. And we also glorify struggle love.
Yes.
We glorify women giving men chance after chance after chance after chance. And so that also makes it complicated when it's time to leave, because a lot of us grew up thinking you got to stand by your man. And if he fuck up, oh, well, you just got to deal with it and take him back and figure out how to make it work, even if it means you're unhappy. So I wanted to add that to the conversation for that. This Julie email, bruh, I'm sort of speechless, and I want to try and hurry up and wrap this up before I get cut off, because I know this train cuts off quickly. I need Julie to understand that millennials are grown-ass people taking care of our kids and our grandkids, and in some cases, our parents and our grandparents. My 80-some-odd-year-old granddad just died the day after Juneteenth. I was taking care of him while also taking care of my mother because my father died, and helping my sister co-parent her kids. So we're not just out here being bums, not taking care of our responsibilities. And I'm going to really need for the older generation to understand that. We're struggling just like they're struggling. And if we're keeping it a whole bean, a lot of the struggles that we have.
Oh, she got cut off, but she called back. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's Kiana again, super duper quick. What I was trying to get out is a lot of the stuff that is impacting us now is because of legislation put in place, sorry, Julie, by boomers.
Right.
And by y'all's parents, the silent generation, which is still odd to me to call the silent generation because they always had something to say. But a lot of what we're dealing with now is because of that. So, like, a lot of that is the call coming from inside the house. And you got to find somewhere else to point that anger, because millennials are out here literally just trying to get by, living paycheck to paycheck. Just saying, we're working all the time, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs. Like, girl, you got to point that anger somewhere else. Anyway, that's it. Love y'all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you gotta be cycle breakers, man. And I think that's every generation's responsibility is to try to break the cycles of the things that they went through. And look, no one's going to get it right. We're all overcorrecting. Our kids will be manifestations of the overcorrection. And honestly, as they get older, they'll be sick of the shit that they don't like about their generation, and they'll be mad at the generations after them because nobody's made it through without that being part of the culture. But you know, I feel everything you had to say. All right, Raphael left 3 of these.
Hey, Rod and Karen, it's your boy, Raphael. I just want to share a great experience that I got to witness. So, last Saturday, I was at the UFC 295. The stuff that, the photo that went viral of Bill Barr's wife and flipping Donald Trump. That was like a few rows.
For those that don't know, Bill Burr's wife, who is black, was at UFC with Bill Burr, a UFC match, and Donald Trump came, and there's a video that went viral of her giving him double middle fingers when he couldn't see it.
From that, your boy got connection. I didn't scam anybody for the tickets. I know y'all just putting it out there. So it was crazy to witness that in real time because being at the MSG and the boy walks in and the whole place. I've never been to a UFC fight before. And that was my first time and probably my last time. Because it was weird. The fights were great. It was excellent. But as soon as the orange man walked in, it became a mega event. The whole place just started cheering, well, except for the people I was with. And a few people, including Bill Barr's wife. And, Jared Leto actually did a half bowing, didn't want to commit to standing up, but didn't want to commit to sitting down, and stretched his hand to shake him. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And Trump got the loudest cheer out of all the fighters. So, yeah, it was weird witnessing that. And every time they showed his face on the screen, he just got the loudest cheers. So it was something that, I don't think watching it on TV captures the whole feel.
Right.
But
yeah,
so the funniest thing that happened after that was that, he showed up for the main fight. And so after he sits down, the next 2 fights were American fighters against people from other countries. So the crowd starts booing the American fighters. And the next 2, the American fighters got knocked the fuck out. Knocked the fuck out. And I was pro anybody fighting American fighters. That time I was just having a great time sitting down there. It was the funniest thing that happened. And I don't understand that crowd because they were booing the people who were not American, but after they had knocked the Americans out, they were also cheering for them too. So it got me confused. Like, is this a New York thing, or is this? Because I thought they were like big pro-Trump crowd at the same time. So I just was like, these UFC people, they're kind of weird. Because I know MSG, you're not supposed to smoke in there. There were people smoking electric cigarettes or whatever they call it. Mm-hmm. And it was just a weird vibe. But he got, then they will show Jared Leto on the screen. You know how they show celebrities at sporting events. And nobody cheers. And they show Trump right after that. And the whole crowd cheered again for him. And I felt sad for Jared Leto. I was like, dude, you were trying to hide and shake the man's hand. And you see that the crowd didn't even show you any goddamn respect. So, dude, you suck. But throughout the rest of the event, the people coming to kiss his ass, like kiss the ring kind of thing was happening. And I was just like, wow.
You got cut off again. But also, the last thing I needed, I don't like Jared Leto as an actor, kind of just in general, just because I don't like his performances in movies. I never needed a real life reason But now knowing he was out here trying to shake Trump hand, you might have just stumbled into giving me a petty reason not to like this nigga.
To put him on the list.
I just added that to my Rolodex of not fucking with Jared Leto. It got nothing to do with that, but now I'm about to act like it. Yeah, you know he loved Trump.
Even though I put that on the list.
Even though I mostly just hate seeing this nigga acting. All right, he left one more.
Oh, final one. So, yeah, it was just crazy seeing. Oh, he came in with Tucker Carlson and Dana White and some other white people who, yeah, they began to look alike opposite. But yeah, so throughout the rest of the fight, he was actually clapping for the guys who knocked out the Americans. He was cheering them because one of them, the Brazilian guy, he actually gave Trump like a fuck you after he knocked out the American dude. I can't remember what category he was in, and Trump actually acknowledged. And I was like, weird. I guess he's really into UFC, but anyway, fuck him. And but respect to the Brazilian guy because I was there like woohoo, and then the crowd started cheering the guy too, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? You're like weird people. But it was free tickets, so great seats. So I was like, oh well, great experience. Got to see this crowd. It's a weird crowd, but the people I wanted to won. Because I didn't put money down, so I should have. But yeah, just a report on that. I wanted to I just didn't have like the whole thing down. So everybody should get to know that I experienced that.
All right, it started to get a little choppy there, but yeah, we appreciate you calling in, man. That felt a little bit like a journal entry because I don't think we talked about any of this on our show this week. But we appreciate the call. And the ammunition against Jared Leto. That's mostly what I'm gonna use this for. Like I know you was talking about Trump and other shit. MMA is always giving out big January 6th energy, so I can't even pretend to be surprised. It's not an event I would go to, just because I think the culture around MMA is kind of conservative and trashy. Next voicemail, we got two more people. Let me wrap it up.
Hey, this is Kiara. It's been 85 years since I've called in and left a voicemail, but I just needed to tell you all, I'm literally listening to the Keke Palmer episode maybe a week or two after it initially came out, and I'm listening to the conversation.
I don't know if she's breaking up or the internet
initially came out, and I'm listening to the conversation. All of that, and then I'm looking at the news, and then I see Cassie done came out and came after Diddy, and I know that's behind a paywall. Look, I'm a paying member. I'm listening to it in a quick, fast, and in a hurry. But I'm like, niggas, do y'all just need to run the episode, the Keke Palmer episode back? Because it's literally the same conversation. It's powerful women, wonderful women that have been quiet. They've been silent. They try to do the quote-unquote right thing. But at the end of the day, abuse is still happening.
Right.
These men, powerful, money or not, are still trying to knock women upside the head, and women just supposed to be quiet. We just supposed to just not say shit. Like, that's ridiculous. And I just want to say, look, y'all doing the Lord's work out here. Y'all doing a wonderful job. Love the conversation. Keep it going. Don't get off these people's necks. And that's it. Love y'all. I'll talk to y'all again in about 4 or 5 years.
Thank you. We'll look forward to it. We'll be here.
Yeah, and thank you. You know, because I mean, we did talk about because it happened. The Ciara Puff Daddy lawsuit happened like I want to say Thursday or something, and we were doing Bossy Sports or
like
something.
Breaking news.
So we really didn't have an episode about it yet, and I'm sure we'll talk about it some. It's already been settled, which says a lot to me. You can take it how you want, you know, it's public opinion. So, you know, whether you feel guilt or not, I don't think it's never going to see a courtroom. So,
and
we'll never know.
And it was a civil case from the get go.
Yeah, but you know, same thing with the civil case for Eugene Corral against Trump, and he was found guilty and is a rapist. You know, as far as we know, just because he didn't go to prison for it, don't mean he ain't found guilty. But Anyway, he settled, so it'll never go to trial, and we'll never see all the evidence that was there. But it was enough in that fucking brief, in that 30 something pages, which you can go read. Maybe you can't read it anymore. I don't know, but it was enough to for you to make conclusions on your own. But you're right. Same playbook. That girl, I don't even know her name, and she's a grown ass woman. I forget her name, but it's something job, whatever. The woman that played like Craig's cheating ass girlfriend in Friday, she went viral because she was basically being like, I just don't get it. I don't understand, and it's always gonna be easy for people to take that road, man. And it's sad because everybody claims to be a good person, everybody claims to be supportive, and I'm not a person that is down with the like, hey, we all should immediately accept everything as face value and immediately I have a healthy level of skepticism and cynicism. I use discernment and all that stuff, but at the same time, these people that are kind of voicing this like stereotypical victim blaming, like supporting rape culture shit, how are you not getting the memo yet? Like, it's been a long time, man. Me Too was actually years and years ago now.
Yeah, it was.
Like, y'all didn't learn nothing then, and it feels like Bill Cosby. It feels like R. Kelly again, where it's just like, and I'm not saying because Puffy is a serial abuser or something. I don't know enough. I actually don't follow his personal life that close. But the point being, like, this initial reaction of, well, clearly these bitches is trying to, it's like, whoa, that's your first takeaway? That's wild.
Blame the victims.
All right, last voicemail.
Hi, Rod and Karen. This is Olamni. I enjoyed that episode, Master's Big House Amusement Park. And I was just calling to give you an update. With heavy heart, I'm glad to say that, well, not glad to say, I'm sorry to say that I had lost the election to my Republican opponent.
Damn.
And, psych, I ain't lose. I won. I won 411
Let's go.
I am now a new city council member in Binghamton, New York. I want to thank you all for your condolences and your words of encouragement on my reluctance. And I'm still feeling reluctant. Even some feelings of imposter syndrome sets in. Because for sure, sometimes I feel, I have been blessed greatly. And I just want to do a good job. And I find, it's important to stand up for what is right and to make some changes that is needed, that has been ruined. Mostly here in the city that I live in Binghamton, we even so much have flipped the city council to where it's Democratic.
Yes.
And we have about 6 people out of the 7 districts that's Democratic. And we also have 2 Black people on that city council, which I would believe would be the first time that that's had happened. So I want to thank y'all. I really enjoy y'all, and I think you should come up with a.
He got cut off. He's coming back.
So I think, Rod, you should come up with another segment. This is Alomni again for Karen, and it's the oh no moment with Karen. I really enjoy it when she goes oh no, and it hits different. I really do.
I don't be ready.
Really think that. Like I said, I enjoy listening to your show. I even now I'm on I even paid for it, and to listen to your other content on it. And I'm even working on my 2nd episode of my own podcast, and it's called The Man with the Infinite Tan. So,
that's hilarious.
Good guy.
I'm trying to get out there, and I'm trying to do the right thing, and I thank y'all very much. course, keep up the good work.
That's dope.
Bye-bye.
And good luck, man. Listen, and don't, imposter syndrome, for me, it goes away when I meet some imposters, right? The first time you be up in a meeting, you be like, these motherfuckers don't know what they talking about. It's going to go away. At least it went for me. So I said, I'll be damned if I'm going to feel bad and these motherfuckers stupid. The other thing too is when it comes to, what you're trying to do and as a government official, just always think of these 5 letters, WWGSD. And that's, what would George Santos do? Because you can fake it till you make it. Don't let anybody tell you don't belong. If this motherfucker, if he belong, we all belong. Okay? If he could be a representative, we can all be representatives. So good luck to y'all, man. That's really dope news.
I'm happy
and
for you, baby.
I just want to say none of that would have happened without people voting.
Come on through.
So, for all the, give up, nothing's gonna happen. It's all bad news. I just know that 0 of the things you brought up would have happened if everybody stayed the fuck home. So shout out to you. All right, man. Whew. This is a long one, but we're almost done. It's time to get into the emails. Y'all already sending in y'all holiday card addresses.
Oh, that was like, I want a Christmas card.
All right, I'll try to go through these. There's a lot. Kiana says, first of all, let me say these super long shows feel like reparations. I mean, I still want my money, of course, but I'm gonna listen to the 4-hour shows too. I was the one who left the voicemail about the Wheel of Emotions, and now I'm listening to the show on Spotify. Karen wasn't even in her bag. She was behind a pulpit, and everything she said about not sitting on your big feelings was a sermon. Most of us, old-ass millennials like me and older, never really learned to emotionally regulate as children. We learned to press our feelings down. We learned to fix our faces so our parents didn't know we were mad or feel disrespected because we were.
Right.
We learned to bite our tongues and purse our lips, and we wanted to speak or even shout because we were wronged. We learned to plaster on a smile at work, in the gym, or church when we knew it wasn't safe or prudent to express what we were feeling. We learned ways to survive, and a lot of us are just now learning how to really feel our feelings and unpack what lies underneath them so we can deal with things in a better, healthier way. And that shit is scary, not just because of the big feelings, but the powerlessness we may have felt at the time and the vulnerability required to say that we are all fallible and our feelings were hurt. I've laughed and tell my therapist every single session that I'm going to get to the point where I'm not a blubbering mess every time, because pulling one thing has often meant pulling up other things too. She always encourages me to just feel whatever I feel and don't judge it as right or wrong. Sit down in it, and then we can clear it away. All that to say, thank God for therapy, journaling, prayer, and self-awareness.
It's very, very important. And yeah, it's 100% true what you said, because that's the thing. It's like a root. You pull a root, and a root just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And some people aren't ready for that. They're just not ready for that, because truthfully, a lot of the things we go through, trauma related, particularly if you dig, stems back down to childhood. And so all of a sudden you got to look at that child that's deep inside of you and work through it with it in like unison, which is very hard for people to do.
The next person said something about gender wars with like a clip they want us to comment on. I'll save it for a gender wars segment.
Okay.
If we do one.
Yes.
Luke says, Rod and Karen, y'all had me dying laughing at the 1-star review because we know they are probably listening to this episode. To that listener, stop it right now. This is stupid. Y'all have produced some memorable episodes and moments that I have saved and listened to when I need a good laugh, like the potluck and the bullet ball episode, or Alexis Tyler talk about penis power. Thank you. Yeah, I love those, especially the potluck one. They always come. I'm always reminded of the potluck episode around this time of year, because I feel like we laid it down like it don't need to be laid down again, and nothing has changed. Whenever I hear of an incident in the news, I always think of Guess the Race. Anyway, keep up the good work. Continue to be the wonderful people you are. Thank you for making my day brighter, Luke. Thank you, Luke. Lynette writes in, Karen killed on Drapetomaniacs.
Oh, thank you.
long time listener. This is my first time writing in. I had to write in to say Karen fucking killed on Drapetomaniacs. By long time, I mean Twib and Rodimus Prime days. Wow.
Yeah, you old school, baby.
Yeah, that was when I wasn't even putting my government name on the internet.
It took a long time to realize that Rodimus Prime and Rod was the same person.
Yeah. Shout out to Elon James White. He had a black show, and that was one of the first. That might have been the first time I was ever really on TV. Was they played that show on TV. He would slice in these video clips. It was cool. Love listening to you two. Even enjoy the fans. Appia could do a spinoff at this point. Don't stop going, loving, laughing together, Lynette. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, we already talked about Julie. No need to go into that again. Bria says, relax FDA discussion. This is like a wrong thing that she wrote, but it's kind of saying what Appia said about the same thing with like why it's a good thing. Because I think people took our rating of being fucked with as us saying it's a bad thing when that's not what we're saying at all. And then she also pointed out, and Appia pointed out as well, I believe, that they'll replace the chemicals. It's not like that, like hopefully, it's not a thing where we should just be looking up and be like, damn, ain't no Just For Me on the shelves. And I know we made jokes about that, and I think people took it kind of like and I think we had concerns about it and we made jokes about it. And I understand why people would feel like maybe we had overstated the situation. So thank you, Bria, for letting us know. It's just, this is so long in detail. I'm just trying to sum it up.
No problem. Yeah, and then also when Raji first brought up, I had tons of questions. So it's kind of like a mixture of things. It's like both things could be true. I could like, this is a great thing, and I'm fucked with.
Yeah. Brandy Wright saying, great episode. Okay, Boomer. The way I cackled and laughed throughout this entire episode, I've never actually experienced you being petty, and it was hilarious. You and Karen go out of your way to be gracious and thoughtful and nuanced, even when people disagree. So to hear someone take your words so far out of context was wild, but you handled it great. Can't wait for Saturday's feedback show. Have a great weekend. Thank you for always doing such a great, thoughtful, funny, and enjoyable show. Yeah, and I'm decided. I hope that in my heart of hearts, man, I really hope that Julie hears this and doesn't take it as like some sort of like pile on, because I don't want it to feel that way. And if somebody's feeling fragile like that, I think people really reach out when they feel that way. I think even that 1-star review person is going through something.
Yes,
I really do. I don't, because I just think about my life. When everything's fine and I'm happy, it's not that I don't care at all, but it's like what somebody said on a podcast is not fitting to make me write no letters. Like, okay, you like, if anything, you're dumb, and then I move on in my mind. I don't tell them they're dumb. So who knows what she was going through, and I hope she's okay out there. Show okay, Boomer. Natasha says boomers get half off. Just kidding. Hey, Rod and Karen, I love y'all so much. Long time listener left, but couldn't stay away long and came back here to say, Rod, you were so mad at that lady. You went in professionally and with class, and the blackout to swagger. Thank you for clapping back. I live vicariously through you. Chef's kiss. Keep doing what y'all doing. P.S. Can you say this is from back rows with a question mark? He. I think that might have went. That reference might have went over my head. I'm sorry if I fucked it up. 2803 achievement unlocked. Hello, Rod and Karen. I do agree with y'all that the older generations are out of touch. My parents are in their 60s and 70s, and for a while they didn't know how bad it was for my brother and I. We're 30 and 25. My dad bought our first house, and for the record, I don't think it's everyone in the older generation out of touch. I think Whoopi's out of touch. There are people in her generation that agree with that shit,
right?
But I wouldn't say necessarily. Like I said, it's. I would encourage people that feel that way about the younger generations to talk to the generation with respect and reach out to them with respect and see how much these kids care about feelings.
Because they'll open up your eyes to some shit.
They're very different than us in that way.
Yes.
And I think that's a good thing. It's not all bad. Like So anyway, I think, but you're right in that Whoopi was out of touch. My dad bought our first house 30 plus years ago, 100K in California, and now most likely over $1 million. He was just working a regular 9 to 5. Now my parents are like, stay at home, save money up for your own places, but they didn't realize how expensive it is to rent until recently.
Right.
My brother found an apartment recently, but my mom was astonished at the prices out there. Some places were charging $3,000 to $3,500 for a studio apartment.
Bitch, what, that room, that just square room where everything is all together?
Yeah, New York was like that too. She pays much less than that for the mortgage, so she thought it would be similar. Yeah, I think we're going to get to a point because of necessity, unless some market correction happens, which I don't think is coming. I think we're going to get to a point where basically you just, parents that could afford it and did get the benefits of a booming economy and all that stuff are just going to be handing down what they have to their kids.
Yeah.
Because kids aren't going to be able to just go and buy houses, or if they do, it's going to be so financially restrictive for some people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be harder, and a lot of things are happening to make it harder.
On purpose, too. Yeah. On purpose.
Also, I've been trying to go to grad school and I work at USC. So they'll help pay for it. They only cover one class a semester, half the tuition for employees. And my parents are just like, save money and pay for the other classes. However, they were shocked when one of the degrees I want cost $77,000, and the other one I was interested in was $150,000.
Right.
I'm like, I don't have the money to pay for the other half of the tuition. I can barely save anything because of all the other expenses I have to pay. I also can't go to state school where tuition is much cheaper because they basically want you to be a full-time student, and I need my job. Yeah, so parents backed off of us quite a bit when they realized how difficult it is for us to progress now, Aaron.
Yeah, you kind of have to explain that to somebody. As somebody who, and I still don't think my mama understood, but she kind of backed off. As somebody who went through the generation of on the internet, off the internet, when I graduated from school, the internet became a thing where you couldn't do the thing that they used to do, which is quote unquote pound the pavement, go from place to place, find a secretary, physically hand your resume and shit in. Like my mama, she didn't understand that. So all she would do was see me in the room hours and hours and hours and hours on end. And all I was doing was submitting resume after resume after resume, getting rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter, because everybody wants you to have experience, but nobody want to fucking hire you to give you experience. And that's a fucking head trip in itself, which I'm not going to go into, but that's a fucking head trip in itself. People tell you to get these degrees, and you get a degree, and everybody be like, well, you ain't got no fucking experience. You was like, well, bitch, how am I supposed to get experience when nobody would give me a chance?
They also don't want the older generation to understand what people are going through. It's why Fox News is so ridiculous. It's why nostalgia and these like, oh, remember the old days, and we walk both ways up here. Like that stuff is catching on so hard because when those narratives take place, those stories that we tell ourselves are more powerful than the truth for folks. So it just becomes easy to go, it's not that our society and our government ripped all these kids off. No, it's not that society the government stopped delivering on the promises. It's that kids don't want it no more. They don't care enough. And it's easier to believe that than because that's the story that the New York Times headline is going to tell you, and not the story of the massive amount of wealth that has shifted in the last 30 years to where really it's just becoming no middle class, and all the things that got you to middle class don't exist anymore.
Right. And in some states, depending on where you live, middle class is like it's actually right at or below poverty, or you would in some states would be considered the working poor now.
G writes in, take a bow. I don't want to appear to celebrate y'all giving out that tough love to another member of the Black autistic community, but I do want to show my appreciation for y'all taking a moment to explain and defend this shared space that you give us for free. Personally, I haven't always agreed with some of your takes. That said, I've always appreciated your honesty, transparency, and how you two make an honest effort to empathize and be as objective as you can. Hands down, for my money, see the first paragraph, laugh, winky laugh emoji. You're the best duo in the space. I and some others who might be a bit older suffer from the same plight as most people in pretty much every demo. We find it difficult to face truths that highlight our shortcomings. Older generations benefited from social labor programs. Does that mean it was easy? No. Does that mean people didn't hustle and struggle to get ahead? No. But there were absolutely safety nets. All of those things can be true, and all are true. I can't help but think there is some level of cognitive dissonance kicking in. Maybe we convinced ourselves that those protections didn't matter and didn't help because we don't want to believe that our voting habits sabotage supportive labor protections. Anyway, this is just a bit too pointed and too serious. Hey, y'all, keep giving the people what they want. Don't sweat the petty, but pet the sweaty. Joke them if they can't take a fuck. Sending y'all love, peace and hair grease from Germany. Thank you.
The last phrase.
Oh, y'all are crazy. Matt writes in, it's all my fault. Hey, Rod and Karen, just want to say sorry, it's all my fault. I'm the millennial that tries to make it working 4 hours a day. I bought all the books, got a master's in education, couldn't hack it as a classroom teacher. I'm currently working as a private tutor. I'm not as egregious as some. I work on the sliding scale and pulled $25K in 2022, working 10 hours a week. But it's hard. I've been interviewing a lot this year because I'm too lazy to make a website and try to really make it on my own, and have turned down work because they wanted me to work 13 weeks or 60 plus hours for $23K. I use the excuse that I couldn't be away from my family that much, but we all know the truth is millennials want more for less. It's a shame.
No, baby, 660.
Karen, I think he's been tongue in cheek.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's been tongue in cheek. Love your work as always. I hope I have time and the file for your next live show, Matt. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so Julie gonna come find this motherfucker. He out here being like, I am the lazy millennial. 5 hours a week is actually too long.
Too much.
What is this, slavery? Like,
yes, trying to work me to death.
We got the funniest listeners. Madonna says, I'm here for Petty Rod and nothing but the facts, Karen. I am a long time listener and a boomer. I appreciate your response to Julie, and I hope she replied with some insight gained from this episode. No, she never replied, but I'll give her credit. She didn't, at least I haven't seen yet, that she like cancel her premium or anything. I mean, that's normally the way it works.
Yeah,
they say something
so many times, right?
If we defend ourselves in any way, then the person typically goes, I refuse to pay for this, and then they leave. And you know, it's always a little sad, but also kind of the cost of doing business at this point. I'm that kind of stuff used to really bother me, and now I'm like, I'm not bothered by it because it's not my fault.
Right, and it's beyond my control.
I was giving my opinion. Somebody don't like it, they got the right to just dip out. And if I find it unreasonable or whatever, that's just how I feel. They could feel it's totally reasonable to do what they do. But yeah, I'm always fascinated by how people's interpretation of what someone says can be 180 degrees from what they intended to mean. I don't know if Julie was purposely trying to gaslight you, but she was way off base, as was Whoopi. As Karen said, Julie took what you said personally and was rejecting big time. I love how thoughtful you both are. Keep up the good work. Best, Madonna. Yeah, try to be thorough too. BJ Shroom's work ethic in spades. John says, good morning, Rod and Karen. Rod, I thought the same thing about the name Balloon Juice. Yeah, he sent me a link to Balloon Juice. This thing about, he wanted me to see if I can get coronavirus news from there. But it's actually a reference to Republicans being full of hot air, i.e. balloon juice. And it's actually a big part of my Blackout Tips origin story. The founder of the website, John Cole, is white, an Army veteran from West Virginia who abandoned his Republican affiliation and became a staunch liberal progressive after being disgusted by the whole Terry Schiavo affair during the W administration. Oh, God, don't get me started. Terry Schiavo. I almost made a joke about Terry Schiavo to JL Covan today on text, but I decided not to. The gist of it was something about keeping his comedy career alive, but anyway, it was one of the first good blogs on the left that I discovered during my own liberal awakening at the same time. Anyway, shortly after Trayvon Martin, he decided to add some black front pages. Okay, so the joke is, sometimes JL's fans are terrible. They say they're fans, but they say these terrible replies to his jokes. They try to punch him up, and they're worse.
But he got to punch down.
Yeah, they're punch downs. It's terrible. And he often talks about like how, you know, his fans can be, some of them are just so terrible. And I was like, I feel like they're fans of your comedy the way Republicans were fans of keeping Terry Schiavo alive. Which, I don't know. I feel like it's funny to two people, but it's funny as fuck to me.
Yeah, you and JL.
It's dark. It's pretty dark, but it's still funny.
Yeah, he called them low value fans.
Yeah.
Yes. Jail
All
the
right.
best.
All right. Anyway, shortly after Trayvon Martin, he decided to add some black front pages to the rotation, including none other than Amanda Gandy and Elon James White. I quickly became a fan of both and fell in love with Twib, which ultimately led me here. Sorry for the long tangent, but it's such a great example of the Twib to the Blackout Tips pipeline of those years in the before times prior to the 2016 election. Rest in promo crack. Smile emoji. Yeah, man. Listen, I like that Twib Blackout Tips connection goes way back, and a lot of people came over from Twib that are still fans to this day.
Yes, they did.
As someone who did mushrooms about a dozen times, I never threw up or shit myself, even on the pretty heavy trips. Dried shroom stems and caps can be a little rough to digest, so you can have some gastrointestinal discomfort, but it always passed during the trip. Like with drinking, it's the next day that you might have some rough bathroom time. I've also never had any flashbacks, and I only know a few people that ever have, and they did lots of acid. That said, just like eating edibles, you got to be careful, know yourself and your limitations, and be ready to just go with it when things get a little crazy. Yeah, and if that means sinking a plane full of motherfuckers, hey, I was going with the trip, baby.
No, sir.
I'm not okay.
No.
On the
have a guy. Don't be out here winging it.
On the whole Whoopi thing and the angry commenter who wrote in addition to all the things you both said, the whole kids just don't want to work anymore thing is so tired and ridiculous. Here's a Twitter thread from an academic that shows op-eds complaining about the alleged erosion of work ethic published in 2022, 2014, 2006, 1999, 1981, all the way back to 1894. Ooh. This has been one of those get off my lawn complaints that people have been leveling at younger generations forever. Like the kids are too soft, the men are too feminine, and nobody has a sense of humor anymore. It's another accusation that every generation voices over and over throughout history. But then again, I'm about to turn 50, so probably won't listen to me because I'm too old. Yeah, just go and die. You about to be 50?
Get out of here, beat it.
Finally, sorry for the tangent, but I was wondering if y'all might be able to help me settle an online debate about racist expressions. Probably not. I've been spending time in some mostly white kink spaces, and sadly, the fixation on interracial sex, fetishization of black men, and stereotypes like the BBC are super common and gross. When I point out that white women who prefer black men calling themselves Queen of Spades is really offensive, I get a bunch of defensive responses that one, the term wasn't initially a racist slur based on etymology, so it's fine. Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about, which is true, but besides the point, in my opinion. And two, well, nobody uses it anymore. Nobody ever called me that from black men who take BBC as a compliment, which is fine for them, to be clear. I mean, it's fine in that people's kink is they kink, but it does come from a racialized fetishization place. It's
right.
Just because people are okay being just because people are okay being fetishized doesn't necessarily mean that it comes from a good place. That being said, I never know what to do with the kink shit because on the one hand, some of the stuff is like things I wouldn't necessarily want to do for myself.
Right.
But I respect that it's two consenting adults, and I that's just where I have to put my barrier of if it's two consenting adults and they want to do some shit I wouldn't do, I'm not gonna hold it against them, but it's just not for me, and it's not like they're making me do it. They ain't making me watch it. So they want to participate in some shit that I wouldn't fuck with. Okay, that just you go do you. And so I really try to stick to that because I think a lot of times when we get into this space of what we wouldn't do and then we start pathologizing shit, sometimes we're wrong. And I think, there's too many people that have done work psychologically and studied this and have like all the degrees that have said like a woman can have a fantasy that is, let's say somebody has like an incest fantasy. That doesn't mean they're doing incest in their life.
Right.
So it's stuff like that where I'm like, yeah, I know I don't know everything. And, you just have to leave it at that. That's how I've decided to feel about it. But he goes on to say, But also all that being said, sometimes them niggas do be coons. I've heard some of the reasoning some of them have, and it's like, you should probably kept that in your head because the reasoning is not coming from a good place. He says, my feeling is that the term spade may be antiquated. Most people know that it was used as a slur at some point, so white people really shouldn't be throwing it around and out in the real world. And it's generally going to get a side out from black people. Yeah, it's just that the kind of black people who are seeing that Queen of Spade thing are people already in that line of kink, and they will not take it offensive. They're not looking for liberation or equality or whatever, diversity. Right. They're not looking for that. They're actually part of the kink for some of them is that it's offensive, and people say way worse shit than just spades, so that ain't nothing to them.
Right, and somebody outside of that community, like me, would not have any idea.
Yeah, exactly. So if I saw some white lady with that tattoo, I know what that means, but also they probably don't have that tattoo in a place where everybody can just see it,
Agreed.
It's generally going to get a lot of side out from black people, so I'm curious to know how well known and triggering spade is in your opinion, based on your experience and knowledge of your community. Am I overthinking this? Totally off base. Hope you have a great weekend. Cheers. Stay safe. Nah, it's racist, but a lot of porn and sex is racist. That's just the truth.
Yes, it is. Like once you get down to it, yes.
As a person that finds the ridiculousness of racism to be hilarious while also obviously dangerous, trust. They know what they're doing. The people in that community know what it means. They're not offended by it, and that's the real truth of it. It's not about like, I just didn't understand that. No, they're sending a signal to a certain type of black dude, and that black dude he likes that signal.
Yes, it's a part of the setup.
Yeah. Dion says, just want y'all to know I really do appreciate what y'all do. I've been listening for 10 plus years. Man, all the old school fans came out.
I appreciate y'all.
I would say I got to be petty more often, but I really don't want to get in that mode. So
oh no!
It's funny how like people's like, I remember the days. I remember him. The old rod is back. I'm like, nah, calm down. But yeah, it never crossed my mind that y'all could just decide to stop one day. This week alone, I've had my fave serious host get fired. My third fave podcast seem to be breaking up. So before y'all favorite podcast lead the game, my favorite podcast lead the game, I just want to show some appreciation, y'all. I love y'all. And just know we are family in my head. Thank you, Dion.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, podcasting hard.
It is.
Being consistent is hard. A lot of people start this stuff, and podcasters can tell you it ain't for the weak. And
no, it's not.
Especially now, if you're trying to make money off of it, if you're trying to make it longevity, it's tough out there, man. So I know with us, Keith and Hemda have recently announced on their show that Hemda's gonna be leaving soon in a few months, and those are like our podcast parents. Essentially, we would not have had a podcast if I hadn't listened to them first and thought, yeah, we could do something like that. And we do their last week wrap up every week over there, and we love doing it. I listen to the show anyway, so it's not that like it's like I was already listening, and now y'all asking me to give my opinion. Sure, no problem. But you have a relationship like that, and at least to me, they become friends in your head. Not to mention the parasocial relationship of just listening to them for over a decade. And it means something when somebody's like, I'm moving on or I'm leaving, and not in a what the fuck, this is my entertainment, but genuine concern over them as a person, what they're choosing to do with their life. The idea that this may be a person you don't hear from as often anymore.
Right.
This person's been telling you like their everyday, like, this is how I use the bathroom. Like, is that, it's that mundane, but relatable in a way, where it's like, I want to hear their thoughts on putting down paper on the toilet seat. Is that, and I know we have that with some of y'all, and we do take that very seriously. And everything is for a season. If not doing this thing this long has definitely taught us. We watch a lot of people erected, a lot of people fall down, a lot of people let it go, a lot of people move on. And And a lot of people just change, you know.
Yeah, they evolve. Like they still doing it, but it's not what it initially started.
I mean,
as.
I'd rather him to leave than like what happened to Adam Carolla, where I'm like, could you please leave? Well, you know, maybe you should have left about 10 years ago. You know, like I'd rather that, but nah, man, I feel you, dog, and I appreciate the appreciation, because yeah, sometimes that's the shit that make you appreciate what you do have, is, you know, losing things, and we're older, we're getting older, and I call this, we're in the season of losing now. You know, you're losing your friends, family, you're losing the institutions, the things that you love, you know, the entertainment. It's all this shit is going away in some shape, form, or fashion. So, you know, enjoy the ride while it's happening, because you know, when it's over, it's over.
Yeah, it grows, evolves, changes into something else, you know, and you know, sometimes it's hard to adjust to change. It's not always a bad thing, but it does happen.
Lastly, Mary says, hi, Rod and Karen. I enjoyed your coverage of the writers and actors strike. I felt the way you all discussed it humanized what people saw as an unrelatable, wealthy actors and writers. You made it not an uncommon labor issue, and one many of us are at risk of experiencing at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I happen to live, and then fucking Zasloff or one of these fucking CEOs gave an interview like, I think we overpaid, but it's the right thing to do. Why'd it take so long then? Fuck out of here. Right. Anyway, I happen to live and run in areas of Los Angeles that are popular filmmaking places, and it's been a ghost town for months. But as I pulled up to park at my running spot, I was annoyed to see I was being detoured, and there were cones blocking out part of the parking lot. My annoyance soon turned to happiness as I saw that familiar sight of trailers, PAs, and craft services. We are back in business, and hopefully LA can breathe a sigh of relief and celebrate a little this holiday. I've attached a cause keyword to great work and being a unique voice out there. Best, Mary. Thank you, Mary.
Yay!
Yeah, we love to see it, man. Literally, because you know, we enjoy watching this stuff too, man. I enjoy creating it, writing it, but you know, I'm a fan. And this is the picture of the trailers on the lot. Oh man, that's dope.
Yay, trailers on the lot. Let's go.
You know, Mary be running. Okay.
Don't she? And that's why I was like, I about to ask you, did you run past them? Like, was you running through the neighborhood? I was like, oh, trailers.
Yeah, she like Mary be running.
Mary be running everywhere.
She be making me feel that old Negro spiritual of that feeling of like, that's what I need to be doing. Y'all
every time she
be driving down in your car, you see somebody running down, I need to be out there jogging.
Right.
Instead of eating these McDonald's fries out of my passenger seat.
Right. I need to be stretching.
Oh man. But all right. So that's it. Thanks for listening. Hopefully this shit uploads, because this is over 3 hours, but not 4. So hopefully this all uploads, and we'll be talking to you tomorrow. Yes. Until then, don't forget holiday card addresses. Email us the mailing address if you want one. And don't forget the Black Friday sale. We will make a separate episode for that too, but just don't forget Black Friday sale is happening right now. So sign up if you have questions. Just email us the blackouttips@gmail.com. And
remember it's auto renew, so if you've already done it, you know. Yes.
And I already have one person that emailed about gifting a subscription to somebody. So if you know, if you want to get in this Blackout Tips Premium, we might have like a raffle or something. We'll see what we can do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, until then, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye everybody. Have a good night. Peace. Thank you for kicking it.
Mm-hmm.